Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the VALORANT Oceania Tour for 2021. My name, of course, is Dion Komodo Perotta, and joining me once again tonight is Mitch Pilski-Pilipowski. We had some games last night that were really crash hot, and today we're going to have a little bit less of the game quantity, but hopefully more quality.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a really good best of three tonight. Sorry you have to cast with me again. You just can't get rid of me, apparently. Unfortunate for you and for most of the stream watching, but I'm looking forward to this game. It's going to be a little bit different to some of the games that we covered yesterday, maybe apart from some of the, puggier energy we got out of EXO. So I'm keen to take a look at that series, but let's sort of break down the whole tournament first a little bit more, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Bringing it on in. Of course, these teams, we've got this area where they're trying to fight forward a little bit of prize money and fight in toward that top 8 area, of course. So when they get in towards that top 8 area, the first 4 teams are going to be taking home a little bit of extra money here.
Yeah, so I mentioned it yesterday, but I really like this system because it allows like a little bit of cash to sort of be thrown around at multiple different stages of the competition, rather than just some teams playing, multiple playoff brackets, not really getting too much out of it as we see in other competitions, and then, essentially only the top couple of teams get a little bit of financial support in the scene. Instead, this just sort of spreads it around a little bit more and gives everybody a little bit more to play for, which is always going to help you grow the grassroots and grow some of those teams sitting below the sub-top.
Yeah, and speaking about the sub-top, or the top of what's happening right now, these are the current 3 teams that have made it into that top 4 area. A little bit of a, I guess, unfortunate situation has arisen that we'll be able to break down as well. So the team that was here, Demon, that had that number 2 slot, if I do remember correctly, have disbanded. So their slot has been nullified, which means we are having a special last chance qualifier that is going to be played next weekend. It is a double elimination bracket for the 4 eliminated teams from this section right now, which currently, as it seems, Pilly, is the Shidiots, Paradox, over Power Strike, and we'll find out which the other team is going to be. But it's a double elim bracket, BO1s till the BO3 grand final.
I'm just happy that all my shitters over on the Shidiots will get another chance at qualifying after a bit of a rougher game yesterday, but definitely can't count out any of the other teams either. You got some really strong competition to be going through that second sort of playoff bracket, I guess you would call, to get that 5th spot. And I guess just to comment on Demon not being in the tournament, it's sad. It reduces the overall quality of the competition. They were probably a contender to take the whole thing out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. Of course, we'll be following along the journey for all of those guys wherever they go. We've seen a couple of those LFTs. We've seen some players step down. So we do wish them all the best moving on forward. But it also does mean, they're leaving this tournament with that experience individually, not so much as a team anymore. And a couple of those highlight plays as well, specifically that one from Swirl that we covered on through in the last closed qualifiers, which was absolutely amazing on the C site. But of course, we do move over and we move forward. You guys might have seen that the Fun Crew versus Over Power Strike game was played offline yesterday. There was a reschedule. It was meant to be played on for tonight, but unfortunately with, as I just mentioned there, the reschedule needing to come forward, Digital QF had picked up the mantle of casting that game offline and has actually made a little wrap up for us. So we're going to throw it over towards him. Big shout outs to Digital for this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the VALORANT Oceanic Tour 2021, the closed qualifiers. This is Game 3 between 5th and 6th seed over Power Strike versus Fun Crew. The economy of Fun Crew is going to be much stronger. That distance, Ryan actually takes down easy. He takes down 2 with the classic. He can't really take too much damage. Rider for 3 with the classic. Doesn't even need an SMG. They should be considering the save at this point. You have a classic on profit. Oh no, Peronsky tapping way through the smoke. Rotations are out. 3 players already. Shoot. Oh, missed. Great shot. And reloaded the shot. And behalf of the farm coming from Vicious and Jungle Well finishing it off with 3 kills. 3 players on the A side. This could be a straight down assault. It's more easy. Oh, he wants it. He needs it. The Spectre coming through, spot a few players, and the double breakdown. Chronix issue game player. Full praise easy, and then the boom point as well. Profit making a plus, and he gets exposed. Good kill into Major though. However, this is 2 players staring him down, and oh no, that was all she wrote. Reloaded. You should run towards the A sites. 1v1 on sites. I don't think Oz Rhino has any flashes. Major spot them out. Oz Rhino good for the kill. Even had to run it back. Oz Rhino triple kill, baby, going his way. Chronix, and we'll pay for it dearly. 3-on-3. The spike gets down. We have Oz Rhino playing so deadly close, and the double spray down, reloaded with a shot dart kill. Major's close. He does get spotted. He himself is the bait. Back is all on Ronsky, who pushes right in. Ronsky for 2. Overpower strike. Get down by 2 now. You still have to spike any possession. Good flash by Major. Doesn't get much out of it, but Ronsky is already there to pick up the remains. Ronsky for 4. Teamwork from Major. And that running back might actually just be for naught. Spot that 2 players out. Cypher Trap doesn't do him any good though. He's tapping away. Can't really get anything out of it. Jungle Well onto Mist. And then players overpower strike falling one at a time. Great shot by Reloaded. It's all down to Oz Runner by himself. He gets sprayed down blind. It doesn't matter. 13-6. GG overpower strike.
Once again, big shout outs to Digital QF for bringing us these little highlight plays from yesterday's matchup, of course, over Power Strike and Fun Crew, which will technically, Pilsky still get to see them. Of course, Fun Crew will be able to touch upon when they get in towards the games tomorrow, and for over Power Strike, their chance in that last chance qualifier next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit sad that I missed the game, to be honest. I do know some of the boys on Over Power Strike. I've known Reloaded for about 10 years. He still takes the mantle as one of the most brain-dead players I've ever played with, but he's really sharp and good at video games. And then obviously you got Mist as well, who for some reason has called himself Shoot Game Player, which is probably one of the worst handles I've ever seen in my life. And then over there on the Fun Crew guys, I think that's actually a pretty good team. You've got Jungle Wow there. He used to play CS. You obviously got Major coming off that AV roster from before. He's got a sharp player as well. So they're kind of a team that I'm keeping my eye on to see. I have no doubt they can come in towards the top side of the competition. It's just a question of I want to see how much damage they actually do against some of the better teams.
And of course, before they do get into what you might be able to say, lining up all the teams in this bracket, the better teams, they'll have to play off against the teams that we'll be seeing tonight. Of course, we'll bring this up. Kanga and Straight Out of the Zoo. So, you know, a potential Pug Star team over on the Straight Out of the Zoo guys. Kanga, we've seen this roster before, but of course, Pilsky will bring it on in and we'll bring up a little bit of a refresher of who is actually on this squad.
So we got first Kanga. Okay, so this is a very familiar roster to anyone who followed a bit of Counter-Strike. You basically got 5 guys who were kind of floating around, you know, your ECAs and things like that, getting a fair amount of experience, and now they've kind of come into Valorant and you know, done pretty well for themselves, I would say. I think, you know, you had some mixes of like the Rip and Tear sort of teams and things like that. And they always seem to be able to, you know, perform pretty well for the roster that they had.
Yeah, and of course, bringing it over to who their opponents are going to be for tonight. It is going to be Straight Out of the Zoo, a very nice little team logo to be brought forward on that one. But it's Yifeng, Nice Hacks, Mike, Duddy Boy, and Punda. One of the players that we're going to have to really look over towards on this roster, in my mind, is Mike. If he's hot, he is absolutely hot. If not, we might see a little bit of shambles throughout this team. Of course, Yifeng, the first, you know, Radiant in the region, as I believe it, for this new axe coming on forwards. And we've seen Punda on a couple of different rosters before too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that I think I scrimmed a couple of times when we were trying to get a warm-up for some of the open call games on Shitiots. And it was probably the biggest waste of time I've ever had in terms of practice, because these guys literally just W key at you and they shoot you in the head, and they're really, really sharp and they're good at doing it. Which, you know, will get you pretty well, pretty far, I would say, in a tournament like this, and they've got a lot of talent on the roster. My question is, how far does that sort of take you, and is that even good enough to be able to beat a team like Kanga, who have probably played against similar things like that, have some pretty talented players in their own regard, and I would argue maybe a little bit better mid-round capability and chemistry and cohesion to go with that.
Yeah, and talking about the holding of the W, of course, we bring out a little bit of the battering lineup here. Clutchy, a player that we might expect to see holding that W key down and taking on those duels. Of course, going to be picking up the Jet and potentially over on the Sova when we get over, or if we get over in towards the map, likewise of Haven potentially. But, you know, on that flip side, of course, Nice Hack's going to be bringing out particularly only the Jet. So a battle of the potential AWPers, your entry fraggers here. It'll be really interesting to see if these guys are going to be leading out the teams tonight, because, you know, at the end of the day, all of these players are really capable, sharp aimers, but it will come down to the team chemistry and the compositions with that as well, because you look at a team like Kanga, signed to an org, been together for longer, not a kind of thrown together bunch of players. You would kind of expect them to be a little bit more structured and well versed to the sort of pug thrown at them.
You would assume so. You would hope so. This is where you should see a team like Kanga try to out teamwork and sort of outstrat a team like straight out of the zoo. But it's all theorycraft. At the end of the day, once you're in the server, if the other team's just mowing you and hitting all their shots, I'm sure everyone's had games like that where you will just lose if you don't find an answer for it.
Yeah, well, hopefully these guys don't lose straight on through Pilski, because as we've mentioned already, it is only the single BO3 that we are going to be getting into tonight. I want to see all three maps played out. And speaking of the maps, the vetoes, where are we heading? Bind first from straight out of the zoo, Ascent second, and Split's actually going to be bringing themselves in towards the map pool. We haven't seen a Split this weekend so far. We didn't see it last night.
Yeah, if this is a 2-0, we still won't get to see it. I mean, I don't really know what to say about the map pool of Valorant, really. I think, like, these are the most, like, L standard maps you could ever get. This is almost like you get a CS veto and it's like Mirage, Inferno, Dust 2, and everyone goes, yay, I'm so excited. But, you know, you obviously the outsider sort of maps are the Icebox and then the Ascent with the crazy attacking side that I hate. So, you know, I feel like this is a pretty even playground where you can't really complain about these maps if you're either side.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll be complaining whatsoever. You know, Ascent's kind of that middle of the map pool. For me, it's one of the most balanced maps, at least, you know, as we see it in the competitive pool coming in.
It's a copy-pasted CS map. Like,
exactly,
when I was making strats for it, I'm like, this looks like, you know, Mirage or Dust 2, and I'm going to do the exact same strats I would do on that, and then it works, so...
Yeah, well, hopefully we do see, I guess, a little bit more thought into the strategies coming into it for these teams. If we do see the like of, you know, the Nano Swarm, for instance, yesterday, we actually saw thrown over in Tree Room to Wine. I'm just like glancing over that. That was a perfect piece of utility that I'm glad we got to catch going on forwards. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. And hopefully we can see some more, you know, big brain kind of lineups. I guess particularly more over onto the Sova as an agent that you generally see with those fancy lineups.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because, you know, the Sova is one thing. You see some nice shock dart lineups. You see some nice dart lineups. We saw some of those from Plix yesterday. But the thing about the Killjoy lineups is that, especially when you're on the defense, a lot of the time as the Killjoy, you're going to use most of your utility to set up. But very rarely will you see a Killjoy specifically try to hold on to that extra molly. And I guess that was just due to the fact that they really wanted to molly out Wine after having the ultimate ready.
Yeah, well, as you do see it, we are going in towards Bind right now. A little bit of a glance for the peekies at home for your eyes to see what we're getting. No Killjoys to be brought on through. It's going to be these Cyphers to be coming on up in toward this matchup right now. Bind, the home territory pick of straight out of the zoo, but Kanga very well versed when it does come to this map as well, Pilski. So before we get started into it, do you have any predictions on how this overall series is going to turn out?
I think it's really going to depend on form, to be honest, especially a lot more when you get a team that's a little bit more on the puggy side. I think that this was the map that we played straight out of the zoo on twice, and I think that they are quite loose on it, and they do want to just run at you and take aim drills. So I'm keen to see how Kanga's form comes into it. I think you would have to bat them, you know, if you're looking at a game like this. I think didn't straight out of the zoo beat EXO on this map the other day? Is that right?
If I'm throwing my mind back on toward it, there was a map that EXO did lose on to... I
think it was straight out of the zoo, wasn't it?
Maybe it was a different team. I can't quite remember. I know that straight out of the zoo played Icebox and Ascent against them and got absolutely put into the ground, but that's another battle for another story. Because we are into this one right now, and Efang's managed to find a pick, and so forward have we lost a player on Kanga.
Yeah, this round's getting really weird. You're going to see Punda try to run into this site and put the bomb down, but they haven't got that bathrooms controller. At least they are covering it off. Efang putting that one on the ground. Mike's already got that rotate through the telly under control, so it seems like, for the most part, straight out of the zoo are in pretty nice control of this round here.
Yeah, and already pushed on through Punda to try and gather a bunch of this information. Paint shells are going to buy just a little bit of extra time, but Greg misses out on, you know, a second kill right now, lining things up. Punda has fallen. Yifeng to get the trade on through, just skating on by in towards the U-Haul, trying to lock it down. A couple of seconds would have been provided on another recon bolt, but Void to swing on through will catch the kill and heal on up. Trying to get on toward this defuse now is the task for Kangar. Now there is only the last remaining soldier in Mike, the player that I mentioned in the pregame that would go large for the Zoo, and it would carry them on forward, and he has managed to do his due diligence to win out the rest of the round.
It's nicely done. You know, you're already seeing, like, straight out of the Zoo. I don't think I do them full service by saying, you know, they're just a straight out pug team, because even in a round like that, the pistol round, you could see some very good communication. Like, there was no communication breakdown there. They had, like, all of the angles covered. If a team's just, like, full brain off, just Wing and taking angles, you wouldn't see them cover bathroom like that. You wouldn't see them coordinate a push into CT and then give it up when the contact came in and play a better post plan. So there's definitely, you know, some solid understanding and fundamentals behind that strong aim that these boys have.
Revealing area.
Yeah, well, the second round, of course, no purchase up really to be seen from Kanga, so they'll have their rifles in the next one, hopefully, or expectedly, you would see straight out of the Zoo be able to claim this one relatively easily. Dotty Boy is going to lead the charge in towards the A site. Start to breathe on through.
Well, already seeing... for the most part, straight out the Zoo play this one pretty safely. Unfortunately, not really expecting an angle like that. I don't think you could really blame the boys for that one. It's a bit of an off angle with the shorty, but that's all they're going to be getting out of that. So, at least for the time being, seems like everything's going okay here for straight out the Zoo. Only losing 2 of those guns.
It's not a flawless one for them, but they'll take with pride that they did at least gather the round and take over the rifle that Yifeng had managed to purchase up on the Guardian, just dropping those Spectres there. But this is where we get the purchase to come through from Kanga. And it is very early, you know, to judge how this is going to turn out. We need to wait for a little bit more depth in these rifle rounds, a little bit more structure. And I think I am more interested to see the structure of straight out of the Zoo, to see what effort and practice that they have put in before coming into these matchups.
Yeah, I mean, at least I know that they've played a couple of pracs, which is always good to see. So, do have the dart into bathrooms here for the boys on straight out of the Zoo. They're just going to try and keep this round relatively simple, get into that A bomb site pretty quickly, but you can already see the info's been gathered there, the wall across hookah. They're feeling pretty comfortable to just leave the Cypher. So at the moment, it's going to be a 4 stack on this A site. And with that smoke onto bathrooms already down and the jet up on top of the double stack, it's going to be very hard for straight out of the Zoo to break.
Yeah, one thing that we saw yesterday that I really liked was to control the double peek out through bathrooms from the defenders. We cast our minds back to there. We won't see that from Kanga at the beginning right now, as Clutchy does relieve the head off of Punda. But Niceax has managed to slip his way into U-Hole. The slow will keep him contained for just a little bit. That drone actually does manage to ping him on through as well. Clutchy, a bit ambitious to go for a second shot. It gets traded out. And at the end, after that first frag we saw, no spike down just yet. Duddy going to get revealed as well. That's going to be the push out from Void, but an immediate trade. It's trade central right now. The spike can be retrieved. We could see a scoot over towards the B site, but you still do have the Cypher lurking over there as well. Koro is going to back up. We hear the TP, and now it's all eyes on Sir Cypher. Luki moved on the side of Kanga.
One enemy remaining. Spike
He's already got the rotations in under control, I guess you would say. Drops the spike on the ground. It's only Mike here to try to cause some damage, but I guess it's all straight out of the Zoo really looking for in a bonus round like this. They've already taken 2 guns away. 1 extra would really sort of put the cherry on top, and that's a very sharp shot to be able to find another kill there. So very good damage there. Of course, straight out of the Zoo, they can't secure that round, but they've secured the damage that they were looking for. They've already taken 3 of those guns away. Now they can proceed into their own buy round.
Yeah, and Lukey does have 2,900 credits in the back pocket with all of the abilities already purchased up, so he's now down to 0, as we can see. Be able to at least get another rifle in the hands of this Kanga squad, and I think just looking at it, we should have everything that they need, because the Blade Storm is available for Clutchy too, so it's going to be those 4 rifles. It is going to be the Blades, and there's a Resurrection in case things do go awry nice and early.
Yep. is where you're going to see... Oh, actually, the duel straight out through long as well as a dart onto the backboard does reveal him. And it's just a triple peek. They're just bullying Nice Hacks straight out of long there. And this is where you need to see a bit of a response. Punda's got the push under control. And the meanwhile, you see the triple push up short A. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to me that Kanga just legit 4-man pushes long B there. That's insane.
I understand the merit of doing so with the Blade Storm as well, but for Clutchy to be able to re-peek over through the cage that his teammate had thrown and then the smokes, Punda gets that immediate trade out. Get the idea that he used all those blades to try to get a rifle into his hand, but at the sacrifice of all of that, you know, as you say, straight out of the zoo have already peeked in towards the A site and they've locked down that spike. They're looking to just contain it now. 3 players over towards short. The TP is going to be heard ×3, so they know that there's only the potential of 1 on the site at the current time, and now it is just all around these holdings. Study Boy is going to re-smoke off U-Hole. A tap on toward the spike is going to bring out the paranoia, and this is where the angled line's starting to come on through as well. It is a good smoke from Cora on towards the spike defuse. That it just gets held, and Void will mop up the remainder of his squad from straight out of the zoo as well. So the long peek in towards the rotation does work out for the retake.
It's a very wonky gun round, you know, like you're seeing a 4-man push straight down long B from Kanga. You'd expect them to be like the more sort of measured of the two teams, and they're just doing the kind of stuff I was expecting from straight out of the zoo in this matchup. So don't even know what to say about that one. I think straight out of the zoo, you know, it was a decent response. They tried to reposition back towards short A with 3 of the players while you had Punda still trying to hold onto that part of the map. But just couldn't get themselves comfortable enough in a post plant to close the round from there. So maybe a little bit of a lack of some late rounding here. Again, another push from Kanga. Clutchy is literally just pushing a different extremity every single round. Just changing up where he's going. He could probably updraft over that trip there, and that's exactly what he does. So he's got a flank without the straight out of the zoo boys really knowing what's going on. Not that it's really necessary against the pistols, but I guess it's nice to have.
We did talk about the potential aggression to come on through from the Jet players, the WT holding, and I guess nice and early that we are correct in saying so, and it's going to be punished, it's abused. The flank is expected.
It's just not worth it. Like, I don't understand, like, why you would, you know, push bathroom and updraft against sheriffs, like, into the other team's spawn. It's just, like, it's unnecessary, you know what I mean? And, you know, I'm happy he's been punished for that, to be honest. There is some justice in the world, and now into the 5-on-4 straight out of the zoo have a chance of making something happen here.
Yeah, Clutchy fouled out for this round, has to relieve or leave it all onto his teammates. At least Void is going to sit Yifeng down in the spike in bathrooms. Blade Storm has been pulled out as well from Nice Hacks, and hopefully can get something done. But that clearance has already been seen in the spike. He's going to transition all the way back over towards short with his team. Punda will satchel in towards U-Hole to clear it on through, but the time is really starting to tick on down. They're going to have to go for the long shot in toward the spike plant, and Void had already just been lurking around. Finds one, gets his head taken off, but there's just buying enough time to make sure that the spike can't really get planted right now. The peek out from Koro. That's a low bullet. How does that bullet connect onto Punda? He's just running, and the shot through the wall catches it. I don't understand running accuracy in this game, Pilsky.
Yep, they fixed running and gunning, by the way, on all of the rifles. I don't know if you saw the patch notes there, Dion. They did it, though. And, look, as far as straight out of the zoo is concerned, that round's a win. That's big economic damage, and for multiple rounds. So Kanga's economy is going to be relatively cooked, I would imagine. Probably close to some kind of economic reset. So we'll see if straight out of the zoo can take advantage of that. Kanga's on a bit of a run now. Bit of a change up with the Jet on the op this time. You can see Punda just being the one who's working U-Haul. Initial shot doesn't go in the favor of Clutchy, so a bit of a dodge bullet, I guess, literally and figuratively, because they don't lose that first pick.
I'm getting vibes of a rocket jump in towards Hookah from Punda, but it's Clutchy finding the first frag. It maybe transitions things a little bit differently now. We'll catch a shock dart. There's still a lot of time left on the clock.
Yep. Straight out of the zoo, just slowing things down. Still do have that Hookah control, which keeps the option of going back towards the B side of the map open, but there's 3 players there. Oh, just sees a little Sage ponytail, but I swear to God that's not part of the hitbox. I don't know how many times I've tried to shoot that and never gotten a kill out of it.
It's almost like Sova's cape as well. you know, one of the things that is just a visual that doesn't protrude in towards the hitbox, which is a bit unfortunate, but it gives away information at least.
I mean,
30 seconds.
30 seconds
Speaking of
left.
Sova, I've seen the Sova just start back and forth in spawn most of this round, and before the smoke does go down, he strays across short, so that's the bomb dropped, and straight out of the zoo having a real lot of trouble in the late round here.
And in toward the cage as well. Koro's just creeping on by. Duddy Boy is going to give him a little smooch in toward the smoke, but they need to get this spike planted down. A nice little headshot to come out onto Clutchy, and they have at least gotten the objective secured now, but can they hold it off? Lukey not hearing the TP or not getting it communicated over by Greg. Bit of miscons there as Greg does get taken down to 5 HP. The heal at least to come on through. Void one away from a resurrection. A dart to go in towards Xiao as he sees the body, but he misses all of the bullets. They know where Punda is. Could he bring out the rocket in a situation like this? Shock dart to clear the corner. Void to tap on the defuse of the spike. Punda hears all those footsteps, gets his head taken off, and Void will find Mike as well. So while straight out of the zoo started to get in toward the site here from Nice Hacks, it's brought back in towards Kanga's favor, and they get the defuse.
Nicely done. Going to be able to retrieve the AWP as well. Bit sad that neither of them could get their ult from that defuse there. But, you know, all things considered, they're going to be happy with that round win. Straight out of the zoo there. I mean, they got that hookah control, but I think I'm already starting to see some cracks in the calling, like the indecision. I mean, if I was to get a replay of anything in that round, I mean, I know we don't do replays, but I would literally get a replay of the Sova running back and forth through his own spawn 3 or 4 times between A and B, like just complete indecision about what's happening in the mid to late round. No grouping up, still just very split across the map, and that's going to come back to bite them if that continues.
Yeah, definitely did get a little bit messy, and it's already messy for them off the get-go in this one. A little bit of spaghetti Valorant to be seen on the side of straight out of the zoo, at least in the beginning stages of Bind. You got 5 ults for Kanga still to frolic around with in the map, and straight out of the zoo, the jig's kind of already being given up over towards this B site in that first opening pick. There's a little bit of a gap in this wall for Clutchy to abuse. Void's going to find Nice Hacks, and this is just shambles for them.
Oh, that's a cute wall. Little bit of a gap for the AWPer, as we did see previously. Both of them just hiding from the dart. Void looking very sharp on that Vandal. This is just another round where it's complete shutdown. Like straight out of the zoo, just getting absolutely nothing done on this attack.
Yeah, Handsome in the server, Handsome outside the server as well there for Void to close it on out for 3. A flawless nature approach for Kanga, really starting to find their footing now on the defensive side of this map here, Pilski. But remember, this map is technically defensive sided, so if things switch over at the half, when they will, maybe the scorelines will too.
I don't know, maybe. Who knows? Void also a big Harry Potter fan, if I remember correctly. I think he was at Mac's house and he wanted to put the Harry Potter movie on. That's the one time I met him. So there you go. It's always a time and a place for Chuck and Harry Potter on the telly. Bit of
The real
aggression
question
up.
is,
Sorry, what was that?
is the Mac household a fan of Harry Potter?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Mac's a bit of a Weasley though, so would make sense.
Give me those back.
Sharp shots to come through from Koro, backed up by Clutchy on the Blade Storm. This is a sort of forced purchase to come through from straight out of the zoo, and it's being met with a little bit of indecision again around the A site. Punda's going to be good for 1. There was extra info and damage on towards Mike as well, but they haven't really even been able to get into these sites at all. Punished at short, punished in showers. They have to cleanse themselves off and tackle it again next round potentially, unless we see something else come out, something extra from the Sheriff of Mike.
Yeah, this is one of those economy steadying rounds. Looks like it's going well for Kanga. 4 players surviving. So not only do they have a strong economy, they still have all those ults available that they haven't really had to burn through. Now a few more of the high impact ults being available for straight out of the zoo. So I hope they can start to utilize some of those to claim themselves around. The Sova ult and the Raze ult obviously can be pretty impactful. Find those entries or even close out some post plants. Then you've got the Omen ult you can utilize for the repositioning in towards the late round or finding some cheeky flanks. Does seem like straight out of the zoo though want to just go towards this A site, keep things simple, and it is the right call in this situation. It's just about how long it's going to take them to take that A site, because you know you have the triple long push here from Kanga in combination with the dart. Now they have full information. They have the flank straight down middle and long B. All Koro has to do is just stay alive, and he's just going to play full retake on the site while they try to set up for that with that double flank. See if Clutchy's going to get over this trip as well. Does see it in marker, and he is going to just float over the top of it.
Well, the dodging of the Hunter's Fury, not a single point of damage delivered, although maybe there was a bit onto Dutty Boy. It doesn't matter now as he is punished on into the floor. Player advantage for Kanga, going in toward the retake. Some information onto Punda. He could buy a little bit of time himself with the paint shells and the rocket, but Clutchy is going to be the next person to fall in the server. This is where things start to get a little bit confusing in towards the retake with all of the players still alive on both of the sides. Void, though, and Lukey going to dispatch the two. Punda is allowed to get off the rocket, but falls because of it. Now it's onto Mike. We've seen him have a bit of work in toward the server so far, but he does have his job cut out for him now. That wall is just going to buy time. He does manage to break it, but Void already knowing where to pre-aim the line. Gets the frag, and Kanga, now you get the round.
It's another round where they can't convert a plant into a round win. Just no ability to mid to late round of the post plant. And another round where that long push actually pays off completely from Kanga. Kind of wondering when they're going to start to adapt to that for straight out of the zoo, because at the moment you've only really seen 2 setups from Kanga. It's been like bathrooms on the A site with 2 on B, the double sentinel, which is what they're doing here, or it's been the long push. That's kind of their 2 go-tos. So keen to see if straight out of the zoo are going to start to react to that a little bit more.
Scanning ahead.
You would definitely hope so, wouldn't you? The reactions from straight out of the zoo, they need to just be earlier on situationally aware and more adaptive, I think, is one of the words to use. You've seen confusion from them time and time again. You've seen them try to go in toward the site together, but they're not getting these trades out there. Money situation is just being toyed with time and time again, and with Lukey spotting the information there, Ace is going to withdraw.
Yeah, they're just playing retake on the site. Very cute angle from Void here. He's walled himself into elbow and he's playing on top of it. Cute cam there, does get taken out by Nice Axe. I think Void's got an angle over this elbow smoke, surely. There you go. Spotted one of the jumps out of hookah there.
Remember, though, this is a round where it is just pistols to come out from straight out of the zoo and the blade storm. So a situation like this where you've got this sneaky little wall, can't really utilize it again for a little bit of the time. And there's a nice shot, though, that comes out on the back of it. But Nice Hacks right clicks at the right distance and has managed to find Void. That's the heals down. Slows that were available no longer. And as Lukey finds Punda, does swing things back into the favor of Kanga Esports, but they have to get into the site. They can't get through the wall that's over at elbow. They'd have to wait for that. Greg finds one. Yifang on towards the Hunter's Fury. Gets a little bit of damage. Mike used the neural theft as well, but now it's just the sheer advantage of manpower from Kanga that they don't drop anyone else in the round.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kanga's just playing a better game of Valorant right now. There's no other way to put it. Straight out of the zoo, you know, they're going in together. They're trying to play pretty simplistically, but I don't think they're looking as sharp as I expected them to coming into this matchup. If anything, I think Kanga's looking a little bit sharper individually, which in combination with how good they've been in terms of just what defensive setup they're doing and then maneuvering around that, whether it's the bathroom setup and then retaking in through CT, or whether it's the long push and then you see that anchor player on A playing safe on CT. It just seems like they're a little bit more cohesive and the firepower is going a little better for them as well. So you're getting a pretty one-sided scoreline. But, you know, some teams are slow starters. Maybe that's the case for straight out of the zoo here. Maybe they can get rolling a little bit more here. Need to make sure they don't drop a player too quickly, though.
Well, the drone's going to be sent in nice and early. Spot out a little bit of info onto Clutchy, though. Uncharacteristic, missing out that shot. Going for another one. Seen in the drone. Easy comms on the side of straight out of the zoo. Easy weapon upgrades as well. Sheer number advantage now for them. With the credits that are here still for Kanga, you know, they could consider going in for the retake right now, which they probably might. The TP's going to come over, and Sage eventually is going to meet up with them in spawn as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult retake. 3-on-5. They don't really have control of anything. TP has been heard.
Oh, waiting for a next engagement. Lukey was TP'd over earlier on in the round before this. Nice hack though. It's going to find Greg. They line up for Lukey. This is scary now. It's in the realm that Lukey might be able to clutch it on through. He would need the A6 bullets, and the paranoia is perfect as well. So does get a little bit scary in the end for Straight Out of the Zoo. Remember, their credit situation isn't too crash hot. So at the end of the day, they are going into the last round in this one with needing to balance over that money straight away for a couple of weapons.
Yeah. See if that does end up biting them as much. Although, you know, chuck any of these guys on like a Guardian or a Sheriff. I don't think they'd be too upset about it, probably. Yeah, they do have the Operator. I think they're fine in terms of the money, I would imagine. Now you're seeing Kanga go back to the bathroom setup with the retake B. Instead of the Sage, this time you've got the Sova over there. That's cute from Punda. Blast packing himself, utilizing both blast packs to get across to the wall to get a different angle on long. Sometimes you see the jet dash to challenge that angle as well. This time, instead of the raise boombot, they're going to drone through hookah. So they have taken a lot of control and information on towards B long, but they haven't pressured anybody off the bathroom's angle for Kanga. So with that cam, just playing really passive with these trips here for Lukey. He's going to be able to buy a fair amount of time for the rotates to come in as the B hit.
Yeah, with that starting to come down, however, Greg's going to be poised over at elbow. A little bit of a reveal on towards the counter in a nice hacks right now. Drone could be utilized over in this angle. Shock darts as well to try and deny the spike, but where we'll see Kanga going in for the retake with all 5 of their team alive, as well as all of the Straight Out of the Zoo players alive, who are still now alive, as Void has been put 6 feet under. That's the resurrection in this last round now down. Straight Out of the Zoo, they just have to make sure that they're watching all of the angles from the extremities in toward the site, and they should be able to lock down this round. Clutchy is another soldier to fall. Now it's Greg's turn, and it's starting to look like a great hold from Straight Out of the Zoo. It might even be a flawless one from them right now, unless Lukey can work a little bit of magic, bring something back, but unfortunately not. Wands have been waved from Straight Out of the Zoo, and the half is concluded with them trailing, but at least they found 4.
Yeah, that's a lot more what I was expecting from Straight Out of the Zoo. And when I look at some of those other post plants that I saw earlier on in the half, there was a lot of like indecision. Half the team was kind of holding back while half the team was holding some more aggressive angles. That wasn't really the case on that last retake towards the B side, and that's what I wanted to see them more. If you've got a team that's like pretty good in terms of your individual skill, I'd really like to see them just challenge the angles when the other team's coming in on the retake. You know, challenge that elbow position, challenge TT. Don't let them out and play the post plant unless you've got some, you know, crazy good ults to contest that post plant. I mean, if you talk about the Raze Rocket, maybe the Sova Hunter's Fury, but apart from that, you know, they're not running a Brimstone. They're not running some of these characters like the Killjoy that can secure you those post plants every day of the week. So I'd like to see them take those duels a little bit more. Now they're onto the defense here. They're going to already just take that bathroom control just towards their side of it, but not gathering any further info. And in the meanwhile, this is missed opportunity for them potentially, because you start to see Kanga creep up towards Hookah's side. You actually get the smoke onto Hookah from Straight Out of the Zoo. So they've forfeited all info about what's going on in Hookah right now. They don't really know what's coming towards them on this B site. And Kanga's now starting their exit.
And Clutch is just going to dash into 2 of the cloud bursts that were thrown with the drone assisting as well. An extra one to go over towards Spawn, and that's admittedly all his util done and dusted for the round. See what he can do with the Classic. Getting very up close and personal to the CT or Defender's Spawn area right now. But through the smoke, he lets one go. Can he catch a second one? The right clicks are out, the reload, and the fallback with the darts starting to get some good reveals out. The plant will go down for Kanga as well in a 5-player alive scenario. Lukey finds Duddy Boy, and the trade starting to come through from the side of Straight Out of the Zoo, and now it's in a very hairy situation for both sides. It's the Cypher on Cypher action. Mike's camera spots out where the last player in Lukey is as well, and manages to find the headshot. That is a 5-on-3 situation gone back to a now 1-0 to Straight Out of the Zoo.
Yeah, I think they basically just shot themselves out of a bad situation there. Like, when I look at how that round was going, like, that should never have been a round for Straight Out of the Zoo. They had literally no info as to what was happening around the map, no info on B. They got hit with the BXE, and then all 5 of them were retaking from CT spawn in that little doorway. They didn't have anybody in elbow, they didn't have anyone on the flanks, and they're just, you know, so sharp, so good on the pistols that they're able to shoot their way out of a bad situation. And you know, sometimes when you've got, you know, a lot of sharp players on your team, you can get away with rounds like that. So I'm keen to see if they can continue that trend and take advantage of it as well, because that's the kind of round that's going to set themselves up for a better half now.
Well, they definitely need to to get the ground running right now, straight out of the zoo. Remember, it's just been the sort of struggles for them in the beginning of this matchup, and finally they got that last round in the first half flawlessness. But the pistol gathered means that they might be able to find this one as well, and that's I guess a decent start. Just peppering bullets through the smoke, you get 1.5 kills.
Yep. Hold your movement keys and shoot your Spectre. Works out pretty well usually. Much easier against the pistols. Little retake setup from Mike there. This is a cheeky anchor for Greg. He thinks that the Cypher's playing inside too. Just waiting for that peek. Again, more anti-eco bashing. Just pushing forward with the Spectres. Has been a bit of a trend for both sides. I love how you just see the Sova in the other team spawn, and then Greg's on the Sova in this team spawn. That was a pretty nice shot with the Marshall for sure.
Yeah, but does Clutchy have it in him for a 1 versus 5 with 5 points of HP? I dare say nay. It will GG go next round, not Rex map right now, and they're even baiting him out, just shift walking. Oh, dearie me.
That was beautiful. You love to see that from Duddy Boy. Just the jump peek around the corner, bait out the shot, and then Punda comes in for the flank there. So good start here for Straight Out of the Zoo. They're going to go into their bonus. They got a couple of Spectres, they got a couple of Marshals, but their money is really strong. So here's where I'd like to see, you know, they're already a team that I expect to play aggressively. Here's like where I'd like to see a little bit of BS from them rather than a more sort of standard round. I'd like to see some aggression somewhere. They are looking like they're going to play a bit of more of a standard setup though. Got the Omen and the Cypher playing towards this B side of the map. Punda's going to drop his little boom bot there and gets blinded off the line. So they do know the bathroom's being contested. There's the dart in towards short, I believe, or maybe it was just a shock dart. It looks like Kanga, after contesting bathrooms a bit, are just going to reset.
Well, there's 2 blades used from Clutch. He's nice set. Remember, he's got the Bucky behind it right now, and if he does whip them all out, what is that shotgun going to do? The right click, it does get the redeployment of the blades toward him, but he's going to get revealed as well and baited on through. Heals are coming through, and that wall is actually going to at least assist him that the nades won't get him out of the round. So it's going to be Yifeng on the Spectre to be able to do that. More shots start to come on out into the remainder of the round. Void needs to take the duel for himself, but gets decapitated by Mike, and this is just looking very awkward for Kanga right now. 2 versus 2 situation. They're still taking these duels in towards spawn. Info now for Lukey on where the remaining player is. Baiting out the shots. 7 bullets. He's got 49 HP. He could technically TP if he wanted to, but Duddy Boy's expecting that right now. The plan is going to go down at A.
Yeah, Lukey's just brained him. That's going to give him a fair amount of time to play with. Wall breaks at an opportune time as well. It allows Lukey to play the post plant in towards U-Haul. Bit of a health disadvantage for the man. Duddy Boy's only got a Spectre though.
Yeah, the close proximity duel. Oh. Duddy Boy, he swings on him. He only needed 2 shots out of that Spectre to get the fight won, and that is the bonus round from Straight Out of the Zoo that is claimed, Pilski.
That round was messy, that's for sure. It was basically like a 5-on-5 brawl on the A site. No nuance to that at all. Initial sort of prodding around the map from Kanga, making sure they're not getting pushed on. But apart from that, it was literally just fisticuffs on the A site. And Straight Out of the Zoo comes out ahead, which is fantastic for them. Now they're sort of cruising along in terms of the money. They're going to go up against this half buy from Kanga. And if they can beat that with relative ease and keep the money strong, then they're setting themselves up for a really good half here on the comeback.
Yeah, they certainly are. The pug style that, you know, we quote around this team, they've actually put in the work and a little bit of the puggy action, a little bit of the messy action. It's working out for them. If you're going to roll with something in the matchup, make it work for you. That's certainly something that you will back yourselves in, and that is what Straight Out of the Zoo are doing, backing themselves in all of these rounds, and they might be able to claim this one pretty easily if they don't put their shots with exactly what Nicehack is doing, but his team is there to at least pull up the slack or pick up the slack. These pistols, though, they can be potent, but it is just going to be down to the last remaining player on the Sova, and Greg is nice. So it does get picked back up by Straight Out of the Zoo, and for the first time we're tied up.
That's good stuff from Mike. He's playing out his trips really well there. You can see him just shouldering and firing a couple of bullets with the trip right on the ground in front of him, and then as soon as the trip's triggered, he's able to just come out and take that aim a lot easier. Always love to see that. Just good utilization of the setup. Another gun round in here for Kangaroos. Straight Out of the Zoo do even up the scoreline. Kanga, though, have access to a couple of those pretty big impact ults. They got the Sova and the Sage res here. But straight out of the Zoo do have that raised rocket over towards the A side of the map, but that's in Bathroom. Not really going to have too much of an impact on this round. Nice job shooting the dart to allow Nice Hacks onto the line. As Gang just going to push down on the Sova, but that's all of the util gone. No drone available anymore for straight out of the Zoo. And this is something that I was worried about as well. We'll hold that thought though, because it looks like Kanga just going to go straight into this B site and take the duel with the Cypher.
Yeah, 2 tags out of the drone is something that you certainly didn't want to see happen over onto straight out of the Zoo, but in starting to get in toward the site, Mike has repositioned and managed to drop the spike. Clutchy though to get the trade on through. He has no more smokes to be able to deploy to defend a spawn. Could have definitely seen a world in which his head got ripped up there, but Duddy, sorry, has repositioned with the From the Shadows ultimate and also managed to find Greg. So again, things kind of going a bit willy-nilly awry for Kanga Esports. Not really knowing in which grounds to be looking over, but they have managed to at least situate themselves at the back of site. And now with Nice Hacks on the operator, that's been heard. It's a swing call from Clutchy. He was low in HP. Now Nice Hacks is with 30. The right click's out. Can't get it done. And Lukey will claim the remainder of the round. I'm surprised, though, they don't grab the operator to take into the next one.
Maybe not preferring it on the attacking side. I know there's some Jet players who really don't want to op on attack. They prefer to sort of be that entry force. And when you look at Kanga and their comp, that's what the Jet needs to be. You know, you're running one duelist. That's the only real entry potential you've got. And with no flashes on your comp as well. No flashes on either of these teams. The strong plays are often just holding lines. And then when you actually entry, that's where the Jet needs to come into the equation and actually take it on their own shoulders to just go in hard and create space for the rest of the boys.
You know, I think space is definitely going to need to be made right now because I'm starting to feel a little bit of, I guess, sloppiness on the side of Kanga Esports. You know, feeling a little bit of the pressure to the start that straight out of the Zoo came through. The pistol, second round as well, and then the bonus round that they've managed to pick up. And now they've forced out the resurrection and they've still managed to take control of the lead.
It's really nice. So the ult from Yifang pretty much just shuts down that A push single-handedly, and now you're going to see the reroute from Kanga all the way back towards that B side, but still Nice Axe in towards this elbow position, and he's just going to get himself a freebie and get away. So even further extending the advantage. Surely you don't repeat that. He's being punished for it as well. Lloyd had an opportunity to make that a double. But now it's a 2-on-4.
Yeah, and the double TP has been heard as well. The Boombot is going to secure information that is a player sitting in amongst the tube, just trying to get the spike plant down. There's that neural theft as well, so there's extra information on these players' positions, and they do line up. They're both taken down to less than 25 HP, and now they're both looking to lose their lives. Lukey repositions in toward Hookah, though, but this is a very wall-bangable angle, and it's going to be cleared by Duddy Boy 2, who does find the swift headshot, and once again, we do get tied up.
Very, very close game so far. I'd say pretty much even levels of messiness from both of these guys. It was a point I was making earlier where, you know, Yifang was pushing down long B, I believe it was, on the Sova. That if you go and take this aggressive style and sort of throw your life away, if you're like one of the players with a lot of util, then, you know, it can be quite detrimental because the Sova kit is so good on some of those retakes and just bomb denial and things like that, that if you throw your life away nice and early, you may as well just be playing an extra duelist, you know what I mean, in a lot of situations. But I think for the most part, straight out of the Zoo don't have too many of those characters where if they die, it's going to be super detrimental to their comp. Mainly just the Sova and the Cypher, obviously, that you wouldn't want to see going hyper aggro, and then obviously the Omen on some of those rounds, you don't want to lose the smoke potential too.
Well, Punda has to be really careful right now to not get overwhelmed in the showers. These pistols could definitely be potent. He's going to bring out the rocket as well to force them back. Greg very unlucky that he didn't get up far away from the corner because the rocket did land in the archway, the entryway. I digress though. Straight out of the Zoo. They do sit in the lead. They've brought out the blades from Clutchy in the rounds too. So it feels a little bit, you know, awkward for Kanga.
I mean, they're already on the pistols this round, so I think they're going to be pretty... They're going to be totally fine the fact that the Raze ult's used in a round like this. It's a very nice shot from Koro. That's what you want to be seeing more of. Just shave down the economy if possible.
One enemy remaining.
It's only 2 guns lost at the end of the day. But like I was saying before, like, you know, if you're the Raze in bathroom anti-eco there, I see literally no issue with just blast packing out of there and going back to the site to hold hands with the rest of the team against the pistols. Just play a passive setup on the A site. But popping the Raze ult, it's the kind of thing that I'd really like to see you have access to in a gun round like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, a gun round like this, who is it going to favor over towards? I think straight out of the zoo, you know, definitely the underdog in this matchup right now. Kanga, see what they can do. This might just be the opening stage that gets them a little bit, you know, caught off guard in the beginning. As Clutchy also is the first to fall again.
Mike doing a really good job playing off his trips yet again. The push straight through the cage though is going to be troublesome for him, but I'd say pretty good position for straight out of the zoo. Duddy, he's been walled into hookah, but this is very retakeable. You know, all of Kanga, they're very well aware that these boys are all in spawn.
Well, the zoom in of the Vandal does manage to get the kill in the end, and it's going to be another one that Lukey manages to find. Nice hacks, doing some great damage out with the operator, however, and that cage is going to come through. 15 seconds, defuse is on. That's an extremely sharp shot onto Duddy Boy. Now he needs to find the next one, and he gets it as well. An unexpected time for an ace to be brought out, but Lukey finds it and keeps the dream alive for Kanga in this matchup.
I mean, that's all Lukey. That's a Lukey round right there on the cipher of all characters for Kanga to be getting an ace. You saw the early Omen TP into the opponent's team spawn, just threw everything into a complete state of disarray. So from there, the round was messy as hell. But Kanga still get it done off the back of a pretty massive play from Lukey. And now you're starting to see straight out of the zoo in a bit of a weird economic situation. Half of them having to go for some half armor when they're buying up, having to consider what kind of guns they want to be going for. So to be able to ace on a cipher in that round to actually test your opponent's economy when your economy is also fragile is a pretty massive play. And if Kanga's able to convert this round, they're going to reap the rewards of that. They're going to be able to reset the economy right towards the end of the game. And that's where you're going to see a really good opportunity for them to take this map. But you could say the same thing for straight out of the zoo. You know, Kanga reduced their loss bonus. And now straight out of the zoo also have an opportunity to try to make a janky buy work and put themselves ahead as well.
Yeah, well, tactical pause is going to come off in the matchup now, Pilski, as we do get back in toward that one there called by Kanga. So as they do start to bring it back in toward the game, and everything will be talked about for them to try to close it out from here and be warmed up in toward the matchup. They are, of course, going to have all their rifles available. Only one ultimate, as you do say, and they're actually being very passive in approach in this one.
I mean, both teams are.
Yeah.
You see how different these teams play when they know next round, if we lose this round, our economy is cooked. We're reset and we're probably losing this map. And, you know, these two teams earlier on in this game, happy to just misc it and push everywhere. EFAG's actually not bought anything. So, not sure what straight out of the zoo are rolling with and how many of them bought, how many of them didn't buy in this round. Bit interesting.
Yeah, a bit unorthodox, but in these duels, hopefully that they can try to find them out with the weaponry that they have purchased on up. At least for the investment of Duddy Boy, it does get put 6 feet under, and playing going down for Kanga Esports does mean that it makes things a little bit more awkward straight out of the zoo, maybe even tenfold if they keep losing all their players. Bladestorm is out for nice hacks. He has to try and navigate things now around with Mike. Does have that Phantom in possession. We've seen some great shots from him, but Clutchy, he does one better in this round for the 3K, looking for the fourth onto Mike, who does manage to find that kill. Another 3 and a defuse is certainly a tall task to ask. It's already ticked away very, very largely in the round, and that is going to be the round found by Kanga. Now you're looking at the economy of straight out of the zoo, and you do wondering, do we eco here for overtime?
Well, I'm seeing them buy up, so I guess some of the players must have had a little bit more access to some cash than the rest of the boys. So you do see him buy up all of the rifles, some Guardians. So the money looks like it was a little bit all over the place, but that was a relatively easy round for Kanga to be picking up. So they're going to be quite happy with that one. They've still got access to this overall to be able to close out some of these rounds. Again, this time it's a cipher set up over towards A with the trip into bathroom and short. Very quick long control here. Only Nice Hack solo on this line, and as soon as he loses his life, this puts so much pressure on Straight Out of the Zoo. They're in a 4-on-5. Duddy's just misking it, just trying to look for duels, and does win one of them. TP's close towards Octagon, but now Kanga's going to go straight into B.
And look who he's dispatched of in the round as well. It's Void. It's the person on the Kanga roster that can get out that resurrection on the Sage Agent, of course, and tip the balance back in towards Kanga's favor if they did start to lose their players. And as they've lost one, the TP is going to come out likewise with the Hunter's Fury. Not intended to mask any presence, just to make sure that they aren't pushing on through, trying to find a little bit of damage on in the round as well. We do see that the Sova over on the side of Straight Out of the Zoo. Yifeng has been tagged on through. Clutchy is going to go back through the teleporter with the dash. Unsure if that's actually intended, but for now, we are going back over towards the B site. They're going for a little bit of ring around the rosy around the whole map, and Mike is here already to try and get something done, but it's not going to be the case. It's all on to Punda in 1 versus 3. Protrudes through the smoke, but again, we TP.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the Sova in spawn. They're just playing with the rotations right now. What a round to be doing it. Straight Out of the Zoo have absolutely no idea what's going on. Greg's already in the defender spawn. He's where they buy guns. He's even got the trip down, Lukey, to be able to know that he's on the flank towards market. And now Kanga, they're just going to be able to set themselves up a very favorable post plant. Even chuck the one-way on top of the box. Good luck getting up short with that one.
And an extra trapwire as well that Punda has to destroy. It just takes away a little bit of time. There's that one-way coming into effect that you do mention. Only a little tickle in toward the toes, though. And a lot of corners to clear. Spike is planted for them. Camera at least destroyed, but Punda has to call it. He's going for the save in this weapon. He's going for exit kills if they are permitted. This is Kanga finding map point.
Beautiful stuff. He's able to shave one gun off of Kanga, at least for the time being. Now a couple of the players coming through Hookah want to try and spam him out. Let's take a little bit of damage. I don't think he's going to go down, though.
Match point.
So he does get to hold on to his gun, but you can see his armor's cracked, so he has to reinvest in that. Which will be another grand out of the bank account. And now Kanga on match point here. Or map point, rather. Don't know why they call it match point.
Yeah, I've always...
kind of leads you to believe they're about to win the series, which is interesting.
We can't change it to be, you know,
I know,
BO3 in this. And another thing that I always see people say is they say game 1, game 2, game 3 instead of map 1, map 2, map 3 on like social medias and stuff.
That's fine. That doesn't trigger me as much. Either way, you see the contest over bathrooms. Lukey's just making noise. They're just deathballing 1-4. Lukey's just that lurker over there towards the A site, keeping the rotations in check. That's exactly what he's done. All 3 of the players, 4 Straight Out of the Zoo, still out there. And Clutchy's just walking up behind the drone. All the boys walking up straight behind the drone. Cam does spot out a few players trying to come through Octagon. Mike's just going to give the right hook to the drone. Don't know what the owl ever did to you, mate. But doesn't look like Kanga going to have any problems getting the bomb down here.
Yeah, looking to get the plant on down. A minute to still go. Shock dart in towards defender spawn. Clutchy does have the information on that elevated post, however. There's the flank coming out from Nice Hacks. Does manage to find Void. Having a roughie in these entrance duels, but as Clutchy does get the trade out, they at least are able to focus up on towards the defender spawn now and try to contain everything. The Blades of Clutchy, they miss on the right click. Now Mike gets the neural theft. This is all the information that they could dream for, and the hopes and dreams of Kanga are starting to be belittled into the ground. It's all down onto Greg. The spike is at least planted for him. There is one reveal, a great headshot. Okay, we start to bring it back. This might be the GG unless Punda can clutch it, and unfortunately not. Greg will solidify in, and that is map number 1 going over to Kanga.
Yeah, very hard fought map, that's for sure. But Greg's always a sharpie, so you can back him in those 1vx situations. Pretty much everybody who came from like some of those old like Trident teams on CS, like Greg and Major and stuff like that, Scroll, always just makes you sad to play against those players because they're just 1Bs so consistently over multiple years in multiple titles. So what can you really do about that? But end of the day, it was a decent showing for Straight Out of Zoo. I think a couple of the players, when they've got so much individual fragging power on this roster, a little bit too quiet to get them across the line in this series. But taking 10 rounds off Kanga, it's not a bad performance.
Yeah, it's something that they don't have to be too, upset about in the end. They've been able to find their footing in the beginning of this best of 3, and now they're going to be able to try and run it back and send it into that last map in Split, which we haven't seen, as we mentioned, all tournament long. So whether or not we do find that out, that is up to these teams in the next map, which we do go over into Ascent as well. But before then, Pilski, we do throw it over into a little bit of a break. So we'll take about 5 minutes of a break. And when we come back, we'll be getting back into the next map. So stay tuned.
I just time traveled. Today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi. Which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya. Oh, it's still in the garage. Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.
That did not feel like 5 minutes at all, but welcome back everybody to the VALORANT Oceania tour. Of course, my name is Dion Komodo Peralta. Joining me tonight is Mitch Pilipowski, and we've just witnessed map number 1 between Kanga Esports and Straight Out of the Zoo, and it was closer than I originally intended it to be, Pilski. Did you think the same?
Potentially so, yeah. I mean, it really came down to the 10-9, 10-10 rounds. Once we get towards the tail end of the game, the economy is really starting to get very, very fragile, and a couple of very, very crucial gun rounds being basically the differentiating factor between the two teams right at the end of the game there. So those are always pretty exciting games. When you come down to those post plants, you come down to the XVX situations, everything's on a knife's edge to see who's going to win it.
Yeah, and I think if we're looking at it, at the start of the day, I would have expected about a 2-0 towards Kanga. But as I mentioned before we tossed over to the break, we saw some good things from Straight Out of the Zoo in that first map. We saw some messy things as well from both sides. So there's definitely a way that when we do go over into Ascent, which is the map pick coming forward for Kanga, that, Straight Out of the Zoo might be able to bring it on back. Of course, early stages of Valorant, there's only 5 maps. Everybody would be practicing on all of them. So, yeah, definitely a way in which we could see this go the distance.
Yeah, I think in particular, these 3 maps are in this series are the maps that you do need to know how to play. They're basically, like I said, the direct middle of the map pool for all of the teams. I know a lot of teams like to play Haven as well. Icebox is kind of that team, that map that's been left out in the cold, so to speak, at the moment. It's kind of like the Vertigo or whatever. People don't really want to adopt it, but as the game gets deeper and goes on for longer, people will really embrace that and use that as a bit of a flex pick, I think.
Yeah, and we've seen a little bit of a start of that, of course, when it has been brought on through. We know that God Squad, of course, are going to be, happy and comfortable with every map that gets thrown their way. But moving on forward, we'll see what happens with that team and the rest of the teams that are going to be moving as well, because at the end of the day, this is, well, as I would say, an elimination match, but it's kind of not anymore, right? Because there is that last chance qualifier that the loser of this team will be going in toward next week to face off against, in a bit of a shuffle.
There is, but you don't want to be going into a last chance qualifier where to qualify you have to win 2 best of 1s and before you even get to a best of 3 to claim that spot.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare scenario. I remember going into the open qualifiers and thinking that they were best of 1s and being like, well, we'll see what we could do. But as soon as it comes to best of 3, you gain so much more comfortable if you're a team that, practices and has a bit more structure and has a bit better of a map pool. You don't want to be chucked into those BO1s. But even if Straight Out of the Zoo are, they might not even feel too bad about that one up against some of the other teams that are going to be mixing it up in there. Either way, though. Now starting to kick off Ascent here. Very slow stuff from Kanga on the attack, holding both of the extremities, pressuring A and B main. Nice little pick onto the turret line there. Do have the breach in the lineup for Straight Out of the Zoo, so you love to see that. Whereas Kanga running the Reyna, even though she's not as powerful as she was before, but, I think it's a bit of a side grade rather than a complete nerf, really.
Of course, still just a little bit of a touching point on that last chance qualifier for Paradox. That's pretty nice because they did get rolled into the God squad. But for right now, the first duel has gone underway and it's favoring straight out of the zoo. Duddy Boy to claim his second in the round, just dancing around the smoke. A reveal through the Cypher trap wire, and Mike will find Greg. Now it's just looking awkward again for Kanga in these pistol rounds. Not a single kill's been found just yet. Now they also do know where the last remaining soldier is, and it's going to be flawless. Yifeng finds Lukey, and that is a well-versed pistol round from straight out of the zoo.
Yeah, very nicely done. Gets them off to a good start here to sort of turn their fortunes around, because that last game was very winnable for them, but a couple of rounds towards the end of the game really falling by the wayside. I think the main thing that I've seen Kanga be a little better at is when you get into towards the mid to late round, the retake situations or the post plants for the attacking side. I think Kanga have been a little bit more cohesive, playing off of each other a little bit better. Whereas straight out of the zoo, you know, there's times where you see a little bit of miscommunication. Kanga droning straight through the Omen smoke there. Just going to go straight into this A side where the Cypher's set up.
Straight in towards the A site. The shotgun unfortunately missing in there as Void does manage to find one. So too does Lukey, but Yifeng waiting out for the fading of the utility. Is on for the ace as well, but reloads out on the Guardian. That would have been a nice clip to throw off on the socials, but nice hack to steal it away. Straight out of the zoo. Second round.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where, like, I look at the straight out of the zoo lineup and I see Yifangs on like a Sova, and you've got Duddy Boy on like a smoke character. And these are guys who, like, will just pick duelists in ranked and absolutely roll you. And it's always like, I almost want to just be like, screw it, just 4 duelists and 1 smoker. Let's see what these boys can do. Just let them off the leash. It's almost like, it reminds me of like in CS when Tai Lu tried to play like a little bit more strategically. It's like, no, just go full off the chain. You know, stop trying to play properly. I just want to see what happens. You know, I just want to be entertained.
Well, this is a round where Kanga's got some weaponry behind them. We've seen, though, on that last map, the bonus round that was won by straight out of the zoo. And I do say the weaponry from Kanga. I mean, it's not the greatest weaponry, of course. It's not the full rifles across the board. Buddy Boy on the Ghost manages to find Koro. That's the smokes down for Kanga. And there's a push up from Mike that the Sheriff just gets the job done. Again, you know, just these duels that are getting outright won by straight out of the zoo. Mike should have been dead to rights, but captures another one.
Yeah, doing some pretty decent work again on the anti-eco here. Getting rid of a lot of the Sheriffs with relative ease. Void allowed another headshot right at the end there, so that's going to keep things a little bit more expensive. Keen to see what straight out of the zoo want to go for in a round like this. Do have, you know, the couple of the Spectres still knocking around there, maybe like a Marshall or something like that, but still, after losing a couple of players, we'll have to invest in some rifles, so the money going to be a little bit more all over the place for them. As Kanga only now in towards round number 4, having their first proper buy here. Good jet dash play.
Oh, that is a really good start for the side of straight out of the zoo. Again, you mentioned it before, Pilski. You just want to see the sort of 4 duelist hold W fest to come on through, and they're kind of doing it with the composition they have right now for straight out of the zoo, and they've gotten the first 2 opportunities in the round. Now they're finally getting the plant down, but do they have the numbers advantage to just hold down the fort of A?
I think so. I found another pick as well, 3v5. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Koro to just dive into heaven here. Needs to try to make something happen, but Void's going to have to do it all on his lonesome with that Reyna ult.
Yeah, Greg shots in the shock dart, but can't quite get it done. 1 versus 3 now for Sir Void. Going from the Sage on towards the Reyna is a big stark difference, but he's able to get another one on this Empress. It gets refreshed. A hot potato of weaponry as well, just to make sure he's not caught out in a reload, but on toward that defuse is going to force the issue of Void to get back in toward the site. They both line up for him, and that is a very expensive round for Kanga. That's their first rifle round. It doesn't go their way, and they use an Empress.
Yeah, love to see that from straight out of the zoo, though. Just the breach jet dash in towards B connector. That's straight out of the Vision Strikers playbook. Yeah, absolutely love to see it. Get them that nice and early advantage. Now, I mean, like you said, that was meant to be the first rifle round for the boys on Kanga. It doesn't go their way. And now they're kind of in this sort of limbo of buying up. A couple of the players didn't have access to enough money for the rifle and the full armor. They're just going to start buying SMG armor, and that's where straight out of the zoo can start to take full advantage here. It's going to be a very, very quick B play here. Going to be down to the Cypher trips, as well as the blind being put out at the right moment here for Duddy Boy.
You'll see how it's going to get contained in the early stages. You would expect a bit of a fiesta to be frolicking out from Kanga. The Clutchy to lead the charge in towards the site. And he actually manages to open up onto one as well. But Mike has gotten a little bit of this extra information that Yifeng can capitalize on that reveal. That's 2 shots from coming out of the Hunter's Fury. Mike, again, I mentioned it. If he's hot, he is absolutely hot. And right now, he is just in the flames. Surviving on through is Greg Sopilski. Is it a 1 versus 3, which... Again, there were rifles for this round for Kanga.
Yep. I mean, Greg can do it. We all know he can. He's just not looking the right way. So that always makes it hard whether you're Greg or whether you're, you know, best Sova in the world. Which I'm pretty sure Yifeng was that round. That was a hell of an ult. Gets himself 2 picks. That's what you always want to see. You know, you can play this over a bunch of different ways on that defense. You can play that side anchor and utilize your arrow to be able to, you know, spam through smokes and spam through walls and things like that. And you've got the shockies and the drone for the retake. But whenever you're playing that rotator role on the Sova and sort of floating around, that's where the Hunter's Fury becomes so effective. You know, whenever you get the site execute coming in, you just pop that ulti and start to, you know, shoot down those really common lines of the entries or onto the bomb site from pretty much anywhere on the map. And you could find yourself picks and really relieve a lot of the pressure on those site anchors for your teammates.
We do have a tactical pause to come through from Kanga right now, as things are not going their way whatsoever. So we'll wait for that to get unpaused. And remember last time we saw that attack pause happen, both teams were just really patient, really passive in towards the round. And I almost feel like Kanga can't afford to be, you know, careful right now. They've tried to do the careful nature approach, and it has just been belittled into the ground by straight out of the zoo.
Yeah, Kanga definitely need a change up here. Nothing really working for them. Duel between Greg, as well as the breach and the jet. Nice flash as well. I'm really liking Panda. Oh, hold that thought. Dash in.
Oh no.
He's missed all of his knives.
Brother.
Yifeng's going to capitalize with just hitting the headshots as well, as sharp as ever right now. Lukey is not, unfortunately, as Mike gets that one. This is 6-0, unanswered rounds.
Yeah. Like that's the thing, you know, I was saying it last game. They were like quite slow to start. You know, I wasn't seeing as much of that star power out of a bunch of the players. And now you're seeing some of the boys starting to get warmed up. I think Punda's having a lot better of a time on the breach than the Raze in the last game. I felt like he's quite muted on the Raze, didn't get a whole lot done. A lot of the time he was just kind of contesting bathrooms by himself using the boombot. But now he's on the breach. He seems to be doing a really good job setting up some of the other players to success.
Again, it's just a push straight out of the duel book. They know exactly what to fight when they top deck those cards. And for right now, it's just Kanga's hand being shown time and time again. Nice hack's even going to be afforded a second one. Can't quite make it the third. That's extra damage that has been done onto Greg. You really get to kind of feel for Kanga right now. Every single time they try to change something up, Zuri just has an answer.
Yep. Boyd can see if he can open up middle here. Getting pressured from multiple lines. Multiple players kind of fluffing a couple of aim duels here. The Shocky trying to go in there, or rather the Recon. But Boyd's going to win it. And the bomb now being established on that A site, but they haven't cleared out Mike.
And this is a deadly player in the round to bring it into a workable vicinity for Panda, because look how far diversified the Kanga members are on the map. 6 bullets for Panda. He can get out the reload if he wants, or he can just try to get the headshot, of course. The door is going to be broken by Void. You see in a situation like this, you know, it's in straight to the Zoo's favor, then it's in Kanga's, it's back and forth, and now it's 1-1, anyone's game. HP advantage, though, for Panda. And knowing the fact that Spike is down to 20 seconds, can't rotate over towards the B site. He's just being really passive on this line, really patient. Boy's going to walk straight towards him, and the gun reveals it.
Yep. exactly how he needed to play that. Didn't need to do anything. Didn't need to push anywhere. Just tucks his butt in a corner and holds an angle. That's what you want to be seeing. Now 7-0. Kanga are just getting absolutely domed right now.
Yeah, they're getting obliterated just on those duels. It was the second time that NiceHax has dashed in towards mid and kind of just shot their faces.
If you, like, that's the thing. I was saying it earlier on, like, in the, I guess you call it analysis segment. You know, it's not really a desk because we just commentate and then I get to repeat the same things I said during the game. But it's what I was saying earlier, where it's like, if you can't win these aim duels and you can't slow straight out of the zoo down and force a little bit more respect and force them to be a little bit more timid, you're going to have a much tougher time winning this game.
And this is on the defensive side as well, you know?
I don't think they have a defensive side, Dion. I think they play two halves of attack, bro.
Exactly.
Nah, they're playing pretty passive this round.
Well, eventually got to change it up. But look at the positioning and the information that they've already found off that dart. You know, they've investigated mid with the operator on the Omen, as I believe it to be an operator on the Omen, just trying to gather it on through. They've got the line held down over at B main. They've got the camera set up over at A as well with the trap wires. They just have to wait for Kanga to get toward a site, and they've got the forces to contain. And look at the early rotations as well. There's 4 players around A now, and that's exactly where Kanga are.
Yeah, they've got full info. They've just got the jet posted on that B line. As you're starting to see Kanga slow down, though, they're second guessing themselves. Killjoy ult comes in, nothing to stop that here. 4 straight out of the zoo. They're just going to have to wait it out. Mike seeing if he can hold on under Bauk and pops his cages.
I do like that cage there in the mid of sight as well, and it kind of keeps him contained in the back of sight, at least able to assist in the forces, locking down the one line of generator. But as his team kind of starts to lose out in these aim duels, which has been very uncharacteristic for this map as a whole, with 7 unanswered rounds, you know, it is in Kanga's ballpark now to try and just hold it off, hit a home run, get it on the board. NiceHax is dancing around with the blades, does miss out in the end. Void get the Empress back up, a sharp shot onto the head of Duddy Boy, and now he's got the information onto Punda, who does get punished through the wall. So finally, Pilski, Kanga are on the board, but that's only 1 round.
Yep. They utilized the Killjoy ult to get it as well. Now they've only got that Sova ult available to try to find some entries or close out one of these post plants. On the other side, for straight out of the zoo, you've got the breach ult ready. So even if Kanga do manage to crack their way onto one of these sites, that breach ult is going to be quite annoying to deal with. And you see Breach is here ready with the jet. He's going to stun the line. He's going to have the flash ready for NiceHax. And we'll see if he's able to get a pick and get out of here safely. Up to Punda to keep him safe. Punda just going to shoulder that line, though. He's going to kill the drone.
As we do start to try to get these engagements found on through, the Rolling Thunder toyed with. Doesn't really work out. 3 versus 3 situation, though. Duddy Boy, the re-smoke, finds the duel into Lukey, and the player advantage falls straight out of the zoo again, but likewise it gets brought on back. Just a couple of weird...
Yeah, no way.
Weird duels being taken everywhere.
Should be holding the S key into middle there. Just gives up the 3v2, but still very winnable for straight out the zoo. Duddy Boy, he was pushing up Cat. Now he's pieced it in towards A main. You've still got the cam and the trips here for Mike. Pretty good position there. Does spot out both of the players. Are going to shut the door and try to get onto the site and establish this bomb.
A lot of times just making sure that they're clearing out all of these angles. You do have the flank coming through main as well. You've got smokes available on the side of straight out of the zoo. There are those cages for Mike, and it kind of throws a little bit of, obscurity in the round for Kanga. What angles do they have to look over towards? And for Void to get his head absolutely ripped on up like that, certainly not the way you want to be holding down this round, though. Do they expect Greg to also be playing in Hell? He has the Hunter's Fury. It has to be on their minds, but they've cleared over all of Long. Now they've got the Crossfire for Hell, and Duddy Boy finds the frag for 4 in the round.
Yep. And this is what I was saying when I'm seeing like Duddy Boy on a smoke character and Yifang on like a Sova. These are guys that normally are playing like Reyna and Raze and Jet and things like that in ranked. They've got the aim to be able to make the impact. So you just see round round to round when they're not sort of rigidly playing in their roles. If they're feeling confident enough, they can just kind of make any character into a duelist, just go and multi-frag and have a big round. And that's a big round from Duddy Boy. He pushes into his own short smoke in the mid round, gets a kill, repositions. He was literally everywhere that round in an awkward position. Doesn't stay static, doesn't just tuck himself into the site. He stays active and he's rewarded for it.
Yeah, certainly not the turn of events that Kanga would like to see at the beginning of this round, or this map rather, and for the control of mid to already be found by Straight Out of the Zoo, not even using their utility really to get into what it's just going to be a flourishment through the smoke in towards Tiles, and they are at least rewarded in one. Can't quite get a second one. They do in the end. Chaotic kills in mid. But look at what the situation is now for Kanga. They've got one player in amongst the B site. Void's just lucky to get that kill on towards Yifang through the smoke. The spike eventually will get picked on up, but the onus is kind of on Clutchy to just establish a duel and win it on through, which he does finally get done on towards Mike. Now, it's all onto Nice Hacks.
What weapons are you working with right now? Does he have an operator? Either way, you can... No, it's got a Vandal. He's in the right neck of the woods, but Kanga just kind of playing with the time a little bit more. They will get that bomb. Group up, started to make their way in towards the B site. The jet smoke wasn't heard from Nice Hacks, who's still leaning over towards this A side of the map. So
30 seconds left.
Kanga to get the bomb down and get themselves tucked into the site quite nicely.
Yeah, spike on down. Nice Hacks, lots of angles to clear out getting into the site. Those smokes aren't going to last too long for him to try to get in. He's got his other abilities in those dashes, vertically and horizontally as well, but be very vulnerable in utilizing them. So the duelist duels to be considered, and Clutchy just swings out when it's not really necessary to do so. But hey, he wins the duel and they take the round.
Yep. Just light swing him and kill him with the knives. Why not? Works out though. And Kanga, they double up their rounds on this attacking side. Very, very slow to start in towards this half. Straight Out of the Zoo have kind of just been having their way with them. Got the Sova ult available for Kanga though. So keen to see what they can do with that. Greg's been holding his ults pretty regularly. You've seen Yifang a lot more active using his ultimates. Not really waiting for the perfect ult, but instead just sort of throwing it in there when he thinks it's a good time. Ooh, hold that thought. Push into B main. Nice little thing from Nice Axe. Followed up by the breach flash. Really good supportive work from Punda yet again.
Clutchy's going to be the one to bite the bullets in that exchange. The TP to coming through from Koro as Punda does not hear it. Koro now opening up an opportunity for Kanga to secure this round. Nice Hacks down. Smokes are fading though, and that might be a chance for Straight Out of the Zoo to get some extra info, maybe some damage in the crossovers, but it's not going to be the case right now. The retake to be held down from Kanga, at least in main. Two players here. Gonna make things a little bit more tricky for Straight Out of the Zoo. You have to contain on this retake through market and through the defender spawn. They should still have enough credits going into the next round, but they might even still win this one here. Mike has found one. Here comes out the Hunter's Fury as Yifang finds Void. Things are falling apart. Greg needs to try and gather something on that. There goes the neural theft as well, but Luki to get one. Is it enough? Time ticking away still as they both funnel in through from lane. Mike gets the kill, and here comes the defuse.
Yeah, that just as soon as you saw it coming, right? As soon as the Omen smoke goes onto B main, that just becomes such an awkward situation for Kanga. Maybe potentially swinging out too early on without too much support from the site players. Could have waited out for that Hunter's Fury or maybe a Sova dart or something just to make that situation a little bit less awkward, a little bit more effective. Should have been a round that Kanga should have won, and before that should have been a round that Straight Out of the Zoo should have won every day of the week. You know, you had the early pick going towards Nice Hacks, you had the flash to be able to keep him safe, then Koro TPs in the open and isn't checked by the breach, and from there things just get really messy. But Straight Out of the Zoo, it doesn't matter how the round starts or ends, it matters that they're looking like the sharper team in this game, and they're just multi-fragging a little bit harder and winning these duels.
Kind of throws a spanner in the works as well, and I guess some predictions from maybe a lot of people, me specifically. You know, we always do like going into the third map in a series and everything, but in a world where you've got Kanga versus Straight Out of the Zoo, you would expect it to be I wouldn't say a Kanga stomp, but, you know, a Kanga 2-0, and we're just not really seeing Kanga at all in this map right now. It's Ascent, you know, a map that teams are usually well versed in, and they've picked it.
Little bit too slow to get going here. Well, bit of attack. They're going to see if they can put the pieces together. It wasn't straight out the Zoot attack, I think. There's the flash in again. Set nice X up on the angle. It's only a 1-for-1. And that does give them a phantom that they might not have had access to previously.
Good use of the stun and the aftershock. Makes Clutchy use the dash to get away.
Drone through for the info. Or Yifeng doesn't see anything in mid just yet. Do hard very well from that. Straight out of the zoo, don't really know what's going on right now. Don't really have a whole lot of info. Now the walk starts to come through from mid after the jump spot. So Daddy Boy's just caught off guard, doesn't know mid's dirty. And that's going to allow a mid split to come into fruition.
And Punda catches the kill onto Clutchy too. That's a good reveal on towards these players in market. Yifeng here's the TP. He should not be able to escape with another kill, and he's not going to be able to. Pulling out Util at the wrong time. But now we know that both of these players on the Kanga squad are very, very low in HP. Trying to hold down this retake. A jump down from Mike in toward Logs, and Shrapnel does get over in towards the bodies of Kanga, or rather the Splinters. But straight out of the zoo, they have been released. They have broken down those cages. It's 10-2 at the half here, Pilski.
Yeah, they're doming them. They're dominating them. No other way to put it. This is the gameplay that I wanted to see from them. It hasn't only just been, you know, the individual fragging, though. You've seen some very cute plays. Punda doing a lot of good supportive work to keep the Jet nice and comfortable and happy, and be able to make Kanga very, very uncomfortable, basically. Be able to get in their face a little bit more and create pressure on the map, which is going to really slow you down rather on the attacking side. Stop you from running whatever strats you were looking forward and force you to react to what's coming at you, essentially. Now an opportunity. Straight out of the zoo, been pretty good at winning these pistols here, Dion.
Exactly.
So if this is another one that they take, then this is a game, and we'll be heading through that third.
I'd welcome Split as well. We haven't seen it all tournament, you know. We were kind of expecting the W Fest to come through in this map, and we have seen that. You kind of get punished a lot more on Split if you try to do that too, so maybe we'll see that happen. But we do go in towards the A site nice and early, completely blind. The breach difference is just so huge when you've got those flashes used nicely. 3 kills on the entry for straight out of the zoo, and Kanga, I mean, they're nowhere near the action right now.
Spike planted.
Yep, looking like a pretty strong post play in the 4-on-2. Gonna have to be some brilliance from the Rainer, I'd imagine. You can no longer heal 4 times in the pistol round.
Door to be broken right now, and the fault line is going to keep them at bay for a little bit. Leah doesn't want to get utilized as Duddy Boy finds Lukey, and also onto Void. 4 alive in a pistol round, an A-site bust out. Just the combination of the little utility there from straight out of the zoo pretty much solidified them the round.
Yeah, really nice stuff from them. It's almost sad to see that Rainer in the pistol now. Like, Rainer in the pistol used to be just so broken. So many heals, and then I look at Void, who's bought himself a Frenzy, which costs $500 now. He gets himself 1 Leer, and he can heal once. It's just sad feels right there. Nowhere near as impressive or as strong.
I wonder if Riot will buffer a little bit later, realizing that they have kind of made her just pick rate very, very low, but wait and see it for another time as Lukey will get punished on through by an aftershock and a shock dart.
Can't put a spanner in the works here for straight out of the zoo. Clutchy's doing his usual aggressive thing. He's found himself in the other team's B connector and is hearing a lot of these footsteps, but with that Bucky, going to be quite hard to dart out and find yourself a kill. Still has the dash available, so he can get out of dodge. It's almost like they're aware he's here, almost.
Well, the camera didn't see him earlier, but he's only going to be able to find 1. Still a lot of time to play with. Greg's going to re-aggress in towards B main, and they have to be really careful. The fall off is at the right time, at least, but are they going to expect the swing out from main? Oh, they're rotating too.
Yeah, I guess Greg clears B main and just gets completely timed. He's like, B main's clear, let's stack A. And as soon as they do that, instantly into the B bomb site. At least the Omen's close enough to hear the footsteps into the site.
30 seconds left.
Cypher on the B main line with that Spectre. He's going to get smoked off, but if he chooses his timing right here, he'll have some pretty big impact.
Oh, some missed shots to come out from Daddy Boy. At least does get the kill in the end. Mike can just peek out whenever he wants here, and he's going to find Void as well. Now it is just onto Greg, who's been seen on the site as he takes this duel. He's on 8 HP. He's dead to rights here, but that is a very significant shot on towards Mike. Can he do it again? 10 bullets on towards the Guardian. He's found the right angle of attack, though, in towards the boathouse, and that is a good flick from Punda through that X-ray. And this Pilski is map point. And it's a shocker of a map point for Kanga.
Yeah, they're getting destroyed this game. And I knew straight out of the zoo had the potential to do it. Like like that's the thing, you know. It would be easy to just go, if you hadn't seen straight out of the zoo play before, or you haven't played some of these guys in ranked, or you hadn't scrimmed against them or anything like that. It'd be easy to go, yeah, Kanga's going to win this series, and it's going to be easy. They've got a little bit more experience. They're playing an open qualifier team. Surely this is not happening, but this is exactly what you got to be worried about. They are just getting outshot on every angle.
Outshot on every angle. That is the case, and the first duel, the first engagement goes their way as well. Koro now gets slowed in, or disoriented rather, but he's managed to find one. Punda
One enemy
in the
remaining.
trade. I just don't even know in this game right now. Straight out of the zoo, it is catching Kanga off guard time and time again. It's not even just in the agent pool. It's literally just in those duels, those fights, those gunfights. They're hitting the headshots quicker than Kanga are.
Yep, you'll love to see it. You'll love to see that fast-paced, aggressive gameplay and just some flashy aim and some good individual skill. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. I like a slow roll, you know, a good game of chess, but sometimes you also love to see a fist fight. So, you know, a bit of everything.
Yeah, and it does mean, Pilski, that we do go into map number 3 in Split. When we do come back, you know, we'll touch upon a little bit of it going into it. What might we see? And a kind of, you know, anything can happen. We've seen, you know, big thought out approaches from map number 1. Map number 2, not so much. There was a lot of W keying and a lot of just sharp shots. So when we do come back from the break, guys, we'll get ready for map number 3. So stay tuned.
I just time traveled. Ah, today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi. Which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya. Oh, it's still in the garage. Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the VALORANT Oceania Tour for 2021. Today is Friday. We're getting into the 3rd and final map in this best of 3 series. But if you have just tuned on in or want a little bit of a refresher, my name is Dion Komodo Perrotta. Tonight, joining me is Mitch Pilski-Pilipowski. And Mitch, are you happy that we've gotten into map number 3?
Yeah, I mean, I said it yesterday. I think that I wanted to see 3 maps because we only get to see 1 series today. So at least we get a little bit more quantity out of it rather than just a quick 2-0. We've had a little bit of everything so far already. We've had one very drawn out map, came down to the XVXs, came down to the economy, and some very, very close rounds and some clutches sort of breaking one team right at the end of the game. And then we had an absolute stomp last game where apparently all the zookeepers let all the animals out of the cages and they just ran rampant.
Yeah, they did certainly run rampant, and there was no one to just control them. And I do really wonder, are we going to go over into the 3rd and final map, and it's just going to be a little bit of a repeat? I did mention earlier, you know, when you do tend to hold W on this map, it can be a little bit more punished with just the different closer tuned angles on Split than opposed to Ascent. So we will, of course, just have to wait for that, see if that is going to be the outcome. But I mean, if we see the sort of same pickup that I'm expecting from straight out of the zoo here to re-bring in that breach, maybe we do see the same thing.
Yeah, potentially. I'm keen to see what lineup they want to go for. So it looks like Yifang's going to be on the breach here, and then you're going to have Punda go back to the Rays. And I'm not seeing anyone going for a Sage right now. So no Sage for the boys on straight out of the zoo, whereas the boys over on Kanga do have the Sage and they've got the breach as well. So I really like the Sage on this map, to be honest. I think you're actually at a bit of a deficit if you're not utilizing that Sage. People think about just the wall across mid and just that part. I played the Sage on this map and it's actually busted. Like you can wall A, you can wall B. There's so many times where I just walled A and they have to break the wall and give away so much info if they wanted to exec that site, and you could just play like heavy towards the other side of the map. And it's so choke pointy, and because it's so choke pointy, those slow orbs are actually busted, dude. Like you can just completely stop and execute in its tracks.
And if you couple them as well with like paint shells from arrays, for instance, or you could potentially even get out the Sova shock dust if you wanted to go down that route and pick up a Sova on this map.
Sova
kind
on
of
split.
Rare. I've seen it before. Don't get me wrong, it's rare.
I don't think that, Dion. Dude, I would play Legolas on every map if I could, but not this one. I like to pretend I'm Legolas, tell everyone that the hobbits are coming to Isengard or whatever it is, and pull my bow and arrow out. But not on this map. That's cute.
I mean, hey, one thing is for certain. If you bring out a Sova on split, it's unexpected. And you better have it fine-tuned.
Yeah, I love this. This is exactly what we'd love to see on the pistol round. Boy just instantly drops the wall there. You have the blind through and the dash straight up the ramp, and things start to get messy here, Dion.
Yeah, a couple of kills go left, right, and center right now, but the advantage is on the side of straight out of the zoo, starting on the attackers' side on this map as well. Koro and the smoke to try to at least contain things into water retake. The spike is going to be denied from going down at the current time. You also do start to consider, are there any lineups to be seen from straight out of the zoo? No lineups come out, but there is a flank right now, and Duddy Boy, he's managed to find one. That's all he needs to do in the round. It's all in the brain of Lukey now. Where are they mounting out this retake for? Heaven. They don't need to go for the retake as they've the team that's got the spike down, but an opportunity now glassed over to Lukey. How does he catch that shot on towards Mike? That is a right click that should never be happening. The cage to go down onto the spike. The defuse is starting to be stuck, but does it get stuck all of the way? It's half on tick. A right click would finish off the frag, and he gets it done too. There is no way that Lukey should have been given an opportunity for that 1 versus 3, but straight out of the zoo, they let him.
Right click's nerfed, by the way. He honestly, a little bit of fortune there for Lukey, but at the same time, just very, very good game sense and very good positional play there with the classic. You absolutely love to see a clutch like that because it just shows how clued in he is about where all of the players are coming from. He even halves it, like literally every single step of that clutch was just beautiful to watch. So that's what it takes for Kanga to win a pistol round, apparently.
I was going to say, is that their first pistol round? It is, right?
I'm not sure. They might have won one on the first map or something. Can't remember.
Well, another way you look at it, they finally are on the board. They get one more round and they equalize what they did on the previous map.
Very quick towards heaven here. All the boys on straight out of the zoo. Don't want to be contesting some of those close angles with the buckies and things. Bit of a disengage after all said and done. Out of the zoo, forcing their way into heaven and then kind of slowing things down. They want to go for the B split now that they've got that heaven control. But you already see Clutchy in towards B main there, Dion.
Yeah, and Australia Zoo are forced up in this round as well. The dash does at least permit Clutchy to get out of dodge, but he's going to get back in there to try and see the fight. He will now probably be asking for a little bit of heals to come on through as well. Start cover to be deployed back over towards B main. The Bucky. Be very careful right now for Koro because all these players are straight out of the zoo are lurking around at this site. Punder's actually already in amongst the site, and this is where things start to get a little bit chaotic, especially if we're seeing sprays like that. Player advantage straight out of the zoo. Still no healers actually come out on towards Clutchy. He hasn't met up with Void. Finally does. Spike is looking to be planted in 20 seconds.
Haven't quite put it on the ground yet. A lot of really low HP members, and they're just going to dive straight into the side off the back of Greg's flashes, and easy as you like. Close out that retake. Kanga do manage to lock things down, even though the force did come out from straight out of the zoo. So it's definitely going to help them out here. Keen to see if they're going to start to steam ahead a little bit more now, and what kind of purchases they're going to be making into this round, because this should be a bit of a sheriff buy or something along those lines from straight out of the zoo as they look to move forward in this half.
Yeah, a bit of awkward engagements in that one on all sorts. You've got Clutchy's duel that's reinstigated in towards B main. You've got the Heaven barrage of players from straight out of the zoo as well, though. But once they do get into the site, you know, they kind of just overlook a few things and then they get picked up in the ends. Now it's back to the drawing board and the little purchase that they are coming together with. The slow orb straight down in towards A main. That's a lot of info over towards the side of Kanga. An orb available too, but for Void, that's getting quite shy. I'm going away with it this time.
A little unnecessary up against the pistols to be pushing into that kind of a line. Totally fine to just wall up and get the orb. Like, just see if there's a couple of players over there. Clutchy playing pretty aggressive line here behind the wall. Probably won't be checked, so let's get away with that. Nice study. The opportunity to pick up the judge, but in the meanwhile, straight out of the zoo making their way towards B. Lukey's seen the toes, and he's got his nice little cipher set up to keep him safe.
And one away from the Rolling Thunder on the side of straight out of the zoo as well. It might be their way in towards the site in the next round. Of course, he'll be permitted that ultimate if he loses his life or gets the plant down. But this is a sticky scenario too, because as well as finding the pistol frags, you've got Mike on a flank. This is just really unfortunate. Nice Axe has even found Koro. It's all on the back of Clutchy. A single missed shot and it's done. It's not even going to be the case right now because he's not even afforded a missed shot. Mike from the back. And that is not a round that you would expect, I guess, straight out of the zoo to find.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off with the overextension on top of the wall, and then from that point, after they lose their A anchor, like, Kanga just way too rigid in terms of their rotations. They put so much pressure on the extremities and make initial contact at A that they never really sort of get out of that setup. They're not able to sort of go back and rejig things to make sure that they're covered from mid. And at the end of the day, it was only the Cypher alone on that B site. And as soon as it goes down, then things got really messy. That's a very sharp shot from Clutchy. And I love to see the repositioning of the Sage just staying active. That is such a strong thing on this map. To just wall across mid and then all of a sudden you're at A. And then next round you're walling across B main, you know. Straight out of the zoo can never really get a good feel of where the Sage is playing. And because of that, it's going to be quite hard for them to try to just contact play into some of these sites. Because you never know when you're just going to get stopped into tracks by the wall or the slow orbs.
Yeah, it's almost for Kanga, you know, on the back of that Sage engagement at the very beginning. If they have it happen and straight out of the zoo is there, brilliant. If not, we might even just see a little bit of a retake happen. They do have the flashes as an alternative, you know, thing to rely upon, forcing straight out of the zoo to go slower into the round. So there's definitely a lot of possibilities that Kanga can just stretch out towards and deepen their information gathering abilities in this map.
Mike's on the lurk in towards mid. It's a very passive lurk, you know. In a 4-on-5, you can't really be sure that this entry is going to work out for you, and so far it's not. Oh, never mind.
Oh dear.
A nice axe, find those trades in, and the Bucky in heaven is really not going to be helping Void out here.
And Mike's still in heaven as well on that lurk again. This is a similar situation. This is an exact repeat of the last round. It's just a different surviving player on the side of Kanga this time. It was Clutchy. Now it's Greg. Does at least have a couple of flashes that he could try to throw in, but that turret is going to lock in the info and the nano swarm. Now it's a headshot from Nice Hacks. Again, what more could you want if you're straight out of the zoo? 2 rounds in a row where you shouldn't be gathering them.
I mean, that's just down to the nice breach flash in combination with both of the duelists just really aggressively diving into the site and getting those kills. Getting the entries that you want to be seeing from them. And if Kanga can't deal with those kind of plays, then they're going to have a tough time. And again, you see the complete reposition of the Sage ready with the wall over on this part of the map. But I'm not sure if Kanga have enough money to buy here. I think it is just a save.
Yeah, we saw the Bucky to be brought out in the previous round from Mr. Sage. So I guess we will wait and see what they're going to be able to throw into the mix. We go straight in towards the A site. No Rolling Thunder to lead the charge from Yifeng on the breach. It's interesting to actually see him on the breach. We haven't really touched upon that. Usually on that Sova right now, and the Pug Star in the ranks on the Jet. But as the blades go into the site, Clutchy misses all but all of them. Gets one. That's it.
Some random Sage wall on the back of the site. You love to see it. Void maybe trying to give himself a bit of an off angle. End of the day, though, straight out of the zoo, they get through the round, but they drop 3 guns along the way, which should hurt their economy a little. They've got a hell of a lot of ultis available, and these are the big impactful ones. You've got that Breach, Raze, Killjoy ult. So you still have the Breach ult for Kanga, though, for some of those retakes, as well as the Res.
Yeah, I wonder what the plan of attack is for Kanga here. It's going to have that Sage Wall over towards B, but it's the first engagement from Clutchy. We've seen this before for him to try to get the first pick, but it's going to be punished this time. That's go time for the side of Straight Out of the Zoo. No res available. They want to make sure that that can't be possible. And with the lockdown going on through, Nice Hacks gets caught out blinded. I think that was from his teammates' flashpoint breach as well from Yifang. So a little bit of uncoordination on the ability usage. But as the attacker's Killjoy does blow on through, no one being detained. It's 4 versus 4. Basically onto the retake.
The great shot for the retake, though. This is what I was waiting for. Greg is just going to, as soon as that tap goes down, immediately drop his ulti here.
And the ulti works to perfection for the side of Straight Out of the Zoo. The counter breach ults, and getting caught out by it right now. Greg flashes on through, but can't quite land the shots. Duddy Boy even on for the ace. I kind of missed it in all of the positioning happening, but he's not going to be provided. It is Lukey's going to try and narrow himself down on for 3 and the defuse. 3 bullets is the name of the game. Spotting on through. I think he's just seen the shoulder out. The swing is through from Punda. Didn't need to give up the bag in that fight, but he does, and Kanga are going to tie things up 3-3.
Yeah, and that's just another 3-on-1 that Straight Out of the Zoo kind of throw in the bin just due to some mix-ups on the late round communication. Yeah, Duddy Boy, like, he did so well to get himself 4 kills, but then he just TPs out in the open and gets himself killed with no trade potential. Another player wide peak before him, not sure which one it was, and Lukey killed him as well. Like, you just need, if you're going to go aggro, you just need to go aggro together and just guarantee that trade in 3-on-1. And they just, you know, like little soldier ants march one by one to their deaths and give up a gun round that they worked really damn hard to be able to get themselves. Either way, though, now a bit of a change up. You've got the op on Nice Hacks, but he just immediately gets walled out of the equation. A change up in setup. Kanga playing pretty heavily towards middle here. The trip on the entrance of B main gets dealt with by the boom bot of the Rays, which is going to allow Straight Out of the Zoo easier entry towards B later on if that's what they want. This is what I was talking about. The wall across A, and you just see no one playing towards that A bomb site for quite a while because there's no one pressuring the wall. No one shoots the wall. There's no... Ooh, the swing from Clutchy. Okay. Jesus.
Mans do be sharp, apparently. Didn't
That's
really
just one of those, like...
map.
There's like misc duels in the mid-round that you don't expect someone to take, and he just goes and takes it. And he's still fighting.
Yeah, trying to go again. 45 seconds to go. Nice Hack's going to attempt something, but misses an operator shot. Very unfortunate.
One enemy remaining.
He's still going. It's literally 5-on-2, and Man's just shift walk W down mid. I guess it's working, so can't be upset about
30
it.
seconds left.
Can't be upset about it at all. All 5 still alive for Kanga. Money not looking too good for Straight Out of the Zoo. They'll get a little bit of loss bonus in the round here if they do lose it, unless we see some phenomenal plays come out from Duddy Boy, but Clutchy's already got a 6th sense that he is lurking in amongst the garage. They've cleared everything else. Then the timing, he's looking the wrong way. Clutchy going to pick up a 4K, and it's not even against, you know, an eco. It's, as you say, the shift walks in mid, the little ambiguous peaks, and hey, you take a round where you can.
Works out for him. And Straight Out of the Zoo. Kind of wondering when they're going to be running out of money. Nice Hacks has access to the knives here. So they're going to put a buy together. Been very little mid control from this game. Haven't seen them run a default at all. It's basically just been AB, 4-1ing everywhere. Got the Sage Ball ready to go though. It's actually the slow orb first.
Couple of good shots for Clutchy to start things off. An attempted one at the bot as well, but it's not going to come on through the turret. Duddy Boy is going to take his head off.
They kind of slowed down to a halt here. 3-on-4, this is very workable. Now either just wait for the defenders to over-aggress or try and reset and go back for some mid-control. Straight Out of the Zoo, you know, they might be a man down, but their options are still open to them.
Your duty is not over.
Now the res is going to come out onto Clutchy as Void loses his life. Bladestorm could now be utilized from Clutchy as well if they need to. Reload to come out from the operator as the fault line gets dropped on through. Still contained around at this site right now, but the Zoo players starting to lose their lives tenfold. In fact, as it is once again just onto Dutty Boy. Yeah, some potential can come out for a frag or two here. 19 HP, blinded off the mark.
Really slowing down on this attacking side now, straight out of the Zoo. Not really getting a whole lot done. Kangaroo is starting to warm up a little bit more as well. It's worrisome, you know. There was even some rounds where they could have secured a few more. A few, like, you know, I was talking about that 3-on-1 earlier on. That could have been an attacking round for them as well. And these are just extra rounds that when you're down to the last map in the series to qualify in towards the top 8, this is not the kind of rounds you want to be throwing away on attacking side split, for sure. We'll now have to take a bit of a save. This is where Kanga can start to steam ahead and actually make this a pretty one-sided half.
It feels like the W key action is straight at the Zoo that they might have been expecting to get away with from, you know, what we saw on Ascent. As I said, it gets really punished on this map. They've gone for those flanks time and time again that now Kanga are just being proactive about. I'm just hearing breach flash after breach flash after breach flash, and finally some nades that Koro gets in towards. That's really unfortunate, but as the spike does go down now, the fault line is going to be seen in its beauty. 5-player advantage, well, not advantage. 5 players alive for straight out of the Zoo. The duels have to be forced out from Kanga. Carrying the angles, Blaine's here for clutch here. A couple of spokes to dance around as well, but that slow odd is from his team. And now that Nice Hack finds Lukey, Thunder finds Greg. This is shambles. This is the force buy of lesser weaponry for straight out of the Zoo, and it works for them.
There. Gone here.
All right. Well, the eco round has subsided now, so you've got the gun round coming in. Keen to see if there's going to be a bit more mid control, and that's what it looks like straight out of the Zoo going for now. I love that Killjoy turret, by the way, for exactly that reason. He instantly punishes the male peak, and then you get the follow-up with the swarm grenade. You know, people think of Killjoy on the attacking side as being that character where it's like you're holding down the extremity, but on split, she's actually super powerful in mid, I reckon, with that turret on the top of the box, as well as the swarm grenades to clear out some of those cheeky angles like male. Now they pressure the defense off middle. There's a lot less info here for Kanga.
Here.
Straight out of the Zoo. They've got Duddy still over towards that A extremity, but it's definitely going to be a play towards the B-bomb side, it seems.
Yeah, and Duddy doesn't have from the shadows either to be able to utilize, so as soon as this dark cover does fade over in towards B main, Koro can re-establish it. He has a TP of his own that he could use for some information. We are starting to creep up in toward this smoke. Nice Hacks is just waiting for it to fail on through. Fade on through rather, and then the dash is going to come out. You can see the rotations from Kanga are coming over towards this site, so here we go. The showstopper gets pulled out. Nice Hacks finds first opportunity, first opening frag, but the trades are starting to come on through from both sides. Literal theft now as well to try and deny the spike from just going down. It's 10 seconds. There is a possibility that they can do so. Greg finds Mike. It's a missed shot. Lukey can't quite deny the spike from going down, but again, trades are coming into fruition. Nice Hacks locked and loaded with this operator. 2 shots, going to stick it out through the fault line. Of course, it's missed. Now Duddy Boy needs to touch it out, which he does manage to do. And that is a very chaotic round that you do manage to catch everything, but throughout the Zoo, they catch that round.
That's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely love to see it. And that's another big play for Duddy Boy. He has had a couple of them over this series. And I swear to God, every time when we change to him, he's got a different crosshair. Yeah, absolutely love to see it. The man has changed his crosshair like 5 times in 3 maps. That's something I've noticed as well in like matchmaking and ranked and stuff like that. If he's on my team, this dude just changes his crosshair all the time.
I think you mentioned somebody yesterday as well that did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, he got a 4K, so maybe stick on that one for a while. Again, it's this wall across the A side as well as the orb cap. I love that. It's like my favorite thing to do as Sage on this map. It's just free orbs as well as free info on that A side of the map. That's where you can see the breach sort of leaning towards B. You can feel pretty safe to do that. No one's pressuring the wall. Got the jet up on the angle here for Mail, creating some space for straight out of the zoo to split into ropes, actually. Not something that's been utilized yet. This might be something that catches Kanga off guard. You do have Void sort of floating in that area, but he's on an off angle letting them out. So he is very liable to be swarmed here.
Yeah, 50 seconds to go. The Rolling Thunder's available for both sides. This is going to be a little bit chaotic.
Yep. Just get stoned. And that's going to be an open bomb site unless Clutchy can basically 1v5 here.
Well, unfortunately not. Punter's going to find that. The plant can start to go down as well. You look towards a realm where Kanga might want to go for a save, but that opportunity, or that pick rather, from Michael to Lukey, solidify that. Then you run in.
That's a hell of a round. That's another 4K. It's like, literally they're taking turns 4King on straight out of the zoo right now to get these attacking side rounds. It's just beautiful to watch.
It's beautiful, but it's also kind of messy, right? Because Kanga shouldn't be giving up the opportunities where they're peeking angles one at a time and allowing a single player to just readjust their crosshair and find them, or giving them just, you know, long-winded duels as well.
Look, you can hope for picture-perfect plays, but we've seen the last 2 maps already now, Dion, so I've given up. Given up on that. I'm embracing this series for what it is. It's a highlight reel. Now we're seeing a 5v3 in B main about 5 seconds into the round.
Oh, and the Rolling Thunder gets caught on Clutchy as well. That's not what you want if you are going for that highlight reel. I guess we'll look for it on Koro, but he's already been taken down. Yifeng's turn is... Well, no, actually, apparently it is Clutchy's turn. 1-2 can't quite make it the third, as he can't only tickle toes with the judge. But this is a mess of a beginning of this round. Punda is going to have a free execution onto Clutchy on that resurrection. Both these players are relatively low. Oh, perfect usage of the showstopper, but he walks out wide into the wall. And Greg finds the frag. We tie up at the half.
Switching sides.
Can't help but feel that that could have been an easy 2K too.
It's just another round where it's like, we see a 5v5 in B main in the first like 15 seconds of the round. Like first 15 to 30 seconds of the round are literally a 5v5 in B main. This craziness. Oh my lord.
Placing alarm bot.
Alright. Looks like Kanga setting up for this A side play. Got the Killjoys set up over here towards the A side of the map. I don't know if we've seen Lukey play Killjoy at all. I think he's just been Cypher every map, right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't mind Cypher on this map. There's a lot of cheeky cam locations, but Killjoy don't go too bad either. 3-man setup on the site here for straight out of the zoo, though. Could be troublesome for Kanga to navigate their way through.
Yeah, a little bit of a quick pistol right now. Luke's going to find nice hacks, but they did already lose one of the Punder's potent paint shells before. Mike able to claim 2 out of the Nano Swarm is actually pretty brilliant and shows a little bit of the difference on the Sentinel characters in terms of containing things around the sites. But Dunny Boy trying to lock it down from the defender spawn still, where he did once start beginning of this pistol round. We've seen some pretty brilliant pistols come out from straight out of the zoo. Clutchy is not going to be able to survive the remainder of this one. It's on to Greg for a 1 versus 3. Can only find 1 as Mike claims 3 in the round, and the pistol once again goes over to straight at the zoo.
Yeah, picks himself up that sheriff from somewhere or other. One of the other boys, I think. Something I've seen a little bit more is buying up the sheriffs on the pistol rounds. If you've got some pretty sharp gamers who have that one-shot headshot potential, doesn't go too badly. Well, it's going to be the last pistol round we've seen, and it's not surprising that straight out of the zoo pick it up as well. Again, the Killjoy set up towards the A side of the map. No force buy this time from Kanga, though. Seen a lot of second round buying throughout this series, but Kanga just going to keep things pretty safe here. They just smoke off Mail and take ropes control here.
Very dirty to put a judge in towards ropes. It's reminiscent of RDW's massive clutch play that he's been able to bring out with this weapon. But for now, Punda's only going to be able to attribute 3 towards the weapon as Mike finds 1. It's all going to be on to Lukey with the classic. Gonna potentially try and catch a little bit of damage. Maybe some tailwind to get out of there, and attack from the Marshal. Nice axe will finish it on through.
They're setting themselves up to win the series here, Dion. It's about to be an upset, man. Not calling it just yet. Obviously, do you have a whole lot of gun rounds to come through from Kanga just yet? But I don't know, man. I feel like straight out of the zoo, they have a lot of those troubles on the attacking side. And then when they get rolling on the defending side and get the confidence going, that's when you're going to see them be a lot harder to deal with. This is the bonus for them, though.
We'll see if they're going to be able to clean up this bonus round. They've done it before. Early slow ob in towards B main. Clutchy is just going to sit pretty through it, and it's actually going to catch the tail end of it. Dunny Boy to open up for the first frag. This is what I mean. You know, these bonus rounds that we've seen from straight out of the zoo, it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it just takes that initial duel, takes a bit of a risk. You know, normally that would be a bit of a missed fight to take, but I feel like, you know, if you're on this bonus, I almost like give you a bit of a free pass to just like go and take some miscellaneous fight or just go aggressive somewhere. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, whatever, man. It's not like you've got 5 Vandals or anything like that. So he's done a good job there, Duddy. Gets them the man advantage. Kanga really slowing down after losing that pick in B main. Now starting to walk back through sewer, but you're looking at Mike just rubbing his hands together. I think he tripped one of his nano swarms to get back on towards elbow, which is interesting. Would have liked to see him just hold both of those, especially the main one being towards the ramp there. But now Kanga walking into A site with 30 seconds.
30 seconds
And
left.
Mike can buy a lot of time just popping out that nano swarm. He's going to use it earlier in the round in the holding through. There goes the spike, and no, can't quite get the second one. Going to force out the heal from Void. A flashpoint through, absolutely decapitated. Yifeng gets taken through the wall to go up down towards elbow. It's a little bit of an interesting wall if there was someone lurking behind it. That's a pretty little picture that Punder's trying to paint with the blast back in, but that can't quite get done. Plants on through. This is the bonus round, remember, from straight out of the zoo. So we'll see what the Marshal can do here. See what Duddy can also do with the Vandal that he did pick up, actually, from a fallen foe or comrade. Didn't quite catch where it was. I think it was the foe in A main that he got earlier, B main that he got earlier on. But regardless, Lukey will mop up the remainder of the round, and the bonus doesn't go over towards straight out of the zoo. It's Kanga only dropping 2 players.
I can't help but feel like in that 5-on-4, if Mike just kind of stays put and doesn't pop his extra nano swarm, that things would have gone a little smoother for them. But woulda, shoulda, coulda, and at the end of the round, it is just a bonus. Would have set themselves up so nicely to cruise through the rest of this half. But now they're into their own buy round. Kanga going to take attack and have a chat about how they want to be moving through the rest of this half to try to maximize their chances of winning this game. You can see earlier on, straight out of the zoo, very sight heavy, just really sort of trying to 1-4, death ball, Mike a lot of the time on the lurks. Whereas I'm keen to see what Kanga's approach is going to be, whether they're going to be a little bit more mid-control centric. I really like the Killjoy on this map, like I said before, to be able to take that mid-control. But on the other side of the equation, if you have the Cypher, that's where you can utilize these cheeky cam positions to get info on the extremities.
Yeah, and I've noticed as well that the Neural Theft is only 1 tick of that ultimate bit away for Lukey. So that could be some crucial information for Kanga to try and tie things up against the purchase of straight out of the zoo.
Could help out. Clutchy already in a pretty strong position here. They basically just got him up middle and headed towards A. It kind of reminds me of how you'd like play Mirage. Just get your player up in con to be really annoying, try to poke the rotations, keep the defenders really, really uncomfortable, and then just go group up, hit a site. Don't mind that approach at all from Kanga. Very CS-esque, which is not surprising coming from a bunch of CS players.
And not surprising at all. The nano swarms do get popped a little bit earlier on. It does afford them the way in towards the site. That dark cover now coupled with the wall as well. They're going to have to break that very early on. The second nano swarm was on for where the default plant could have gone over towards elbow. So now with a 5 versus 5 situation, that is a very interesting showstopper to go in from Honda.
One enemy remaining.
Some sharp shots from Greg. Now it is only on to Panda that gets taken down. Flawless in nature for Kanga.
Yeah, interesting is a nice way of saying bad. Didn't quite cover off the player to there. Not sure it really would have made a difference though, Dion. That round was just very clean for Kanga. And pretty, you know, simple stuff. But simple is usually good. Keeping it simple is often effective. And you see why. Just having that player pushed up middle, going in for that flank through ropes, being really annoying towards the defensive side, and then just keeping it simple and hitting that bomb site worked beautifully there for the Kanga boys. You can see the toll that's taken on straight out of the Zoo's economy. They're going to try and make a lot of these Bucky angles work for themselves. This is a nightmare for anyone who steps foot in middle.
Bit cheesy.
You also got Mike on that Sheriff. He's looked pretty sharp on that gun. Got a little disco ball for himself. Always love all the little gun buddies. I think there's one of his Corky. That's the one that I want, but I don't have any skins, so...
Some of the skins in this game do look pretty, that's for sure. Especially in grayscale.
Really running down the clock here on Kanga. They got Clutchy lurking in upper ramp. And he's going to be half checked, not properly checked, and he's going to be able to get out of there. That actually pulls a rotation straight off of mid and B, because they're expecting the rest of the boys to be right there with him. But the rest of Kanga, again, very Counter-Strike-esque, just walking into the opposite bomb site after creating some pressure and taking it in an anti-eco. This is exactly how you want to be playing it.
Yeah, this should be Kanga's round, all things considered. Clutchy does manage to drop over a weapon to them that they could just transition into the next round. I mean, you may as well at this point in time. It's a 4 versus 4 retake with a lockdown available, though. It would be very ambitious to be dropping that down if you are straight out of the Zoo. Luke is going to call them off Garage, a little bit of a crossfire with Void, and now it is just a little bit of the lamps to the slaughter for straight out of the Zoo, dropping on down towards Hell. Looks like they're going to take this rifle in to see what damage that they can inflict on toward the forces of Kanga. The double swing to come out from reverse default. And Bucky does get one on towards Floyd, but now the trades do come out, and Kanga claim the round again. They've got 5 ults now available, Pilsy.
Yeah, they're really sort of grinding this game down the way that you'd want to see them. You know, I feel like Kanga, for a lot of tonight, they've looked quite shaky and they've looked very beatable. These last couple of rounds, I feel like they're hitting a really good level of composure as we're coming towards the tail end of this game. You know, we're seeing simple stuff. We're seeing, you know, just good teamwork of all the boys going together. Now they've got all the ults available, as you did mention, and they're just going to keep it simple and hit this site. And this time, Mike's actually over towards B, so there won't be any Killjoy ult for the retake.
Yeah, straight on through it. Let's see what Clutchy can do on this Blade Storm. There's a lot of smokes that have gone down everywhere from the Omens, from the Jets. Now, Nice Hacks is at the Graveyard. Punda has found Void. More trades have come out a little bit for some unknown agent names in the round so far, but the player advantage for Kanga in the unknown position of Punda. He's going to be able to find Koro, but we locate ourselves over towards the B site where Kanga have been able to protrude on through. They can get the spike plant down. As Clutchy does manage to swindle his way in toward the back alley. Got these blades here as well, ready to get some shanking action happening.
Yeah, that was a hell of a play out of Kanga. Straight out of the zoo, I had absolutely no idea what's going on, and now the right clicks could be deadly, Dion.
Yeah, it could be, but a little bit of the distance and the expected pre-fire from Mike manages to double down for 2. Doesn't even need to use the lockdown going in towards the retake. It's all into Lukey that if he finds one, maybe uses that neural theft to be able to get the information, the locations, but no, Yifeng just straight up wins that duel. And the fight is won by straight out of the Zoo in this round.
Yeah, I mean, I was just praising Kanga for how well they were doing on that fake play. Really throwing straight out of the Zoo for a loop, going for that A execute, the TP in towards screens. Really sort of limiting the info with all of the Omen smokes, as well as the dash up towards the ramp from the Jet, relocating straight through ropes back towards B with the rest of the boys. But the 3-on-3, they're just so hyper aggro, and they kind of throw it away. Instead of playing together and playing the post plant and trading each other down, they try to catch the defenders coming back into the site and retaking some of those areas, and they lose those duels.
An operator opportunity, but it's not going to come into play. Again, the slow orb just to keep Clutchy at bay. We've seen him toil in toward it before and tempt fate, but he's just going to wait it on through and go through his own smoke, waiting for the line of the flash. It will come into play, and this is just forcing out a nice utility early on.
Yeah. Just trying to get rid of that alarm bot. So he's done that nicely. Sort of work out where the Killjoy's playing as well as some good info. You can see Luke is just on his phone right now because he's got that Cypher cam up gathering info towards A, so he doesn't really need to do a whole lot of anything. And Greg getting ready for the stun to come out towards Heaven's side. Set up the boys to take mail and get this B split kicked off. Is this going to be a breach ult into Heaven as well to follow up? I'm wondering. Interesting nano swarms over there towards B from Mike as well. He's just ready to chuck his Killjoy out down.
Off your feet!
I like the adaptation that's coming on through. Nice hacks with no dash available as well. Just has to deploy that smoke. Clutchy's going to go in for a little bit of a run through towards railings, and he's actually clearing out a lot of these positions on the site. The nano swarms haven't been popped yet. Now they finally look to go down on the default plant. There's still one lurking around the hell area, I think it is right now, but there's that lockdown. Lukey's looking to get up close and personal with them. The nade misses and actually manages to destroy the lockdown. That's a sacrifice that you, I guess, are okay in taking, but now that your team is starting to lose all their lives as well, it is on to remaining 2 players for Kango to try and lock it down. Clutchy can fund the duel, and now so can Koro. It's all on the back of Punda. Blast Pack to force the fight. If he can do something, he could put one down to Hell, make him bounce a little bit in the play, and there it is. He puts him out into the off angle. Now the pistols out, the classic. That's how you use your utility very, very swimmingly.
Beautiful stuff from Punda. I thought that was about to be a clutchy round. I don't think he's got it, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I think after the Laura thing happens, does he have it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, very close. Can't tell sometimes with the remote feed, I guess is what I would call it. Very, very close round though. Killjoy gets popped down. Kanga basically have no ults left to them on this attacking side, whereas now you see straight out of the zoo, they've got that Raze ult as well as the Breach ult for the retakes. And that's what I like about this lineup actually on Split, now that I sort of look at it a bit more, is the retake potential is pretty huge when you got Killjoy, Breach and Raze come into some of these sites nice and late. Kanga grouping up towards B here. Not a single soul on the bomb site here. 4 straight out of the zoo. Just the Raze playing retake. Pops his ultimate.
Oh, a little bit of an untoward rocket, but forced out when you do get tagged, I guess. 44 HP, the paint shells are through. Now it's just the purchased utility available to try and throw on through. I'd love to see a Rolling Thunder come out from Yifang here, but now that they're all losing out their players, he's going to drop it. Interesting for my liking, but hey, let's see if it can work on through. Unfortunately not. It's all going to be down to Mike, who has been seen as well, and with the credit situation of the zoo, might just want to save the Phantom. I mean, 10 to 10 if they lose out this round. See what damage on the escape he can do. They line up for him, but Bled will remove his head.
I mean, I don't even know what that was, honestly, Dion. They had so many strong ultimates. They had the Raze ult, they had the Breach ult. I was just talking about it. That was not ideal. The Raze rocket just goes into the middle of nowhere. The Breach ult connects on 3 people, and then Yifang flashes himself and dies. That's really not how you want to be seeing that 10-9 round go at the 3rd map of a series. I don't know if that was nerves or I don't know what that was, but that's going to be a round that, you know, if they lose this series, they're going to look back at that and be like, that's where it all went wrong.
Yeah, I kind of look at what the composition of is from Australia Zoo right now. It's exactly what New Turn's, that is a dirty shot. It's exactly what New Turn's composition is over in the Korea region. I love watching Korean Valorant. And they always just rely on those flashes. It's one of the most heavy, strong, leaning breach teams that you'll see.
Dude, everyone in Korea is loving the breach.
Oh, yeah.
Next to old mate Stacks.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong about that one. But the point that I'm trying to get across here is, you know, at the end of the day, straight out of the zoo, you know, they're going to try and do what they can, you know, being a kind of meshed together team here. But it's actually looking pretty well when they're getting into the structure of their rounds, not just the holding Ws.
Well, once these rounds have been slowing down, Kanga's been winning a lot of them on this attacking side, just keeping things pretty simple. Again, another sort of anti-eco round here for Kanga. It's going very well for him.
Blocking sight.
Clutchy continuing to be annoying. The amount of times that this man has gotten into an advanced position and found success, it's been really, really effective for Kanga.
30 seconds.
Well, did he make noise in a step there? I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter because Mike has been dealt with, so now the position is known. Hop to and fro with the Bucky. What more could you want for a kill and an upgrade of a weapon? And the judge is going to be brought out too, with the paint shells just missing their mark on towards Void. We'll see if they're going to be able to bring something back now. Greg on the bit of the late lurk with the breach is going to swing. Doesn't win the duel against Nice Hacks, but a little bit of extra damage. Food for thought. 3 alive still for Kanga. Ultimate available in case things get very, very sticky, but now it is down to Nice Hacks. 3 fires through, and Kanga, they do inch in front in the lead again.
11 to 10 now. That was just a save round, so as we get towards the pointy end of the game, straight out of the zoo, missing all of those ultimates they had access to earlier. They're going to have to get this done the old-fashioned way. Just start shooting some people. 4 ults available for Kanga, but, you know, I said it earlier, this is not a composition where, like, they have their ults available, and I'm like, well, this round's over. These are more sort of the ultimates that supplement the strategy, the Omen for the rotations, the Cypher to gather some info. In case something goes wrong, you can have the Sage res, which can really turn things around for you. Slow round again from Kanga. Both teams pretty much giving up middle. A bit of a difference now for straight out of the zoo, though. The push from Nice Hacks in towards A main is being guarded quite nicely from the backlines there from Koro. Punishes that push, and you can start to see a little bit more desperation out there for straight out of the zoo. They're being punished for their aggression. Kanga has just been whittling them down, and now they find themselves again in a 5-on-3 with an open bomb site.
Oh, Clutchy misses out the right click. Yifeng's able to find it. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the Rolling Thunder available to chuck on through toward the site. This is going to be a very, very difficult retake for straight out of the zoo. A player down, one of which for your side is already half HP, but if Dunny Boy can come out with a couple of extra shots like that, there is a way in which they get through. A aftershock coupled with a couple of flashes, a Paranoia 2 to be thrown on through. There definitely is the communications being laid down from straight out of the zoo, but that TP is very ambitious, gets destroyed. Yifeng is also falling. Likewise a Mike to be able to find the frag onto Lukey. The time is just ticking away. A brilliant shot on towards Greg. But the 1 versus 1, look at the spike is planted, it's open, and look how low the player is on the Omen. It's not even half ticked, unfortunately, Mike. You had to stick it there, I think. Koro was 1 HP, but I think you've just missed out on the time. Yep.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the half there. If he had half that, he would have won it. If he just halved it and got off it and right-clicked him, that would have been the round. But it's clearly, it's very clear to me that straight out of the zoo at the moment, they're under a lot of pressure. Things are getting a little bit hectic. Whereas Kanga, you know, they've already played a couple competitions. These guys have a fair amount of experience on the roster across, you know, not just this game. I think they're looking a little bit more cool, calm, and collected than the boys on straight out of the zoo are right now. I'm seeing a lot of mistakes coming out that are being punished towards the end of this game, and they are definitely going to be kicking themselves because this is a very winnable series. And as it stands right now, as we head to 12-10, I'm really backing Kanga to be closing this one out now.
Yeah, we would need to see potentially a little bit of a misstep from them as the paint shells is being lined up from Panda. This could be a lot of brilliant damage. He's 2 away from the rocket. I'm just waiting for the pulled trigger. There we go. There's the first. No res coming through. Actually, I lie. It is coming out right now. They're going to re-aggress for this duel. It's a couple more attempted fights that aren't really being won. That's Kanga falling off, though.
Yeah, don't want to force their way into B after they've seen that many members over there. That's the breach ult for Greg as well. Picking that one up. That could be key to close this round out. Still have the Killjoy ult available for Mike as we head towards the late round. Kanga's starting to split up now. Void holding onto that B main control. A big shift from straight out of the zoo. They're just stacking that A bomb site. And I think the pressure that you're going to see coming out from the Jet as well as the Cypher is going to make them feel like they've made the right decision here.
Yeah, the lockdown 2 for straight out of the zoo. That's info over at A. That's the call now to go in towards this B site as Nice Hacks engages with the blades. He gets his head ripped off by Clutchy, and this fake is just being perfectly sold.
Yeah, that's just another massive impact frag for Clutchy. He's had so many of them this game, and that is a very, very nice play from Kanga. That's probably just won them the game. Bomb gets put down, rotation all coming in one-dimensionally from CT. They're going to start to split up through Heaven as well. Killjoy ult's available to them, but then you got the Breach ult to come straight back through for the retake, as well as the Jet in middle. This is almost undoable for straight out of the zoo.
Yeah, but look where the Spike is playing. It's not like it's in the open as well. I feel like there is a way that Straight Outta Zoo can contain things and get this rolling in the retake, but unfortunately with that Rolling Thunder disorienting a couple of the players, the time is just ticking away extremely far. Mike is able to find Greg. The flank here from Clutchy could be superb too. Hop to and fro from Punda, with the Spike being toyed with. Void, he manages to find one. It's still central right now. Punda has the rocket over towards the pit, but he misses the rocket. Oh no, there's no time to get out the paint shells. The duel is won, but is there time? Oh, there is. Oh, it's 0.01.
Attackers win.
Oh my god, 0.1 seconds.
No way.
I've never seen that before. A round literally couldn't get closer. He fluffs his Raze ult for the second time that half, and he's going to pay the price for it, unfortunately. That was a very, very winnable series for Straight Outta Zoo. Hell, they even 13-2'd one of the maps. But you have to give it to Kanga. Like, just class and composure from the lads. You could really see the experience shining through from them there. The couple of the calls when things got really tight and when they had to grind out that attacking side, it really sort of brought them through the hard yards towards the end of that game. And it's going to get them in towards the top 8 now.
Yeah, in towards the top 8. I'm still kind of lost for words at the end of that one. That's one of the defuses where you kind of like, is there time? Is there not? You can see that Crash is expecting it to not be defused as well. But at the end of the day, 0.01, as you say, I remember back in the day that you could technically get the defuse or just miss it out 0.00, but I haven't seen a 0.001 in like the after patch. So that is just absurd. But as we do, start to close it out, start to wrap things out for the remainder of the night, that ultimately does mean that Straight Outta the Zoo here, Pilski, have been knocked out into the sort of redemption arc of the matches next week and how it's working.
Knocked out into another competition. Yep. They're going to be heading in towards that best of one, best of 3 sort of bracket, because Demon obviously dropped out. And look, that's scary, because if I'm playing in that kind of a competition, and I see that I'm going up against Straight Outta the Zoo in a best of 1, I'm probably crying, because that's not where you want to be at all. They're going to get on a map they're reasonably comfortable with, and if they're feeling it, they will kick you out of the competition. They'll just boot you straight out.
Yep, no, you're exactly right on that. So it does mean now, Pelski, we have locked in our 7 teams in towards the top area. We've got Mindfreak, God Squad, Kanga, Fun Crew. This next sort of stage is for all of the seeding to come on through. These 4 teams are going to be joining Order, Wildcard, Direwolves, and that last team that will come on through in our sort of dual fiesta next weekend in those last chance quals. But that does mean that we are, looking forward to a couple of extra matches tonight, and we're about ready to wrap this one up. Or tomorrow, rather.
Yeah. There should be some pretty good games on tomorrow. I'm looking forward to them. Obviously, we've already got the majority of the teams sort of locked in towards the top 8. You got a lot of quality teams. You got a couple of teams that when I'm seeing them play underdog opponents, like your Kangas, like your Mind Freaks, they're looking a little bit too shaky to maybe contest the teams that have already made it through in towards that top 4 for my liking. But hopefully they can try to reflect on how some of those games have gone yesterday and today, and maybe even improve themselves into tomorrow and ultimately in towards the top 8 of the whole competition once we make it there.
Yeah, and I think one of the scary things specifically for Kanga being brought forward in today's best of 3 as well is the match that they won. They were pretty close, and the one that they didn't, it was very, very far-fetched. So it is going to have to be, back towards their little comms and their little practice sessions to see how they're going to tackle things going forward if they want, I guess, a good position in the seeding area going in towards that next stage of the tournament.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from Straight Outta the Zoo as well, though. I'm keen to see, if they were the 8th team, I wouldn't be super upset about it. They played a pretty good game as well. That was a very winnable series from them. So keen to see who's going to come out of that last chance qualifier, and keen to see how the rest of these games go. Not that it really makes a grand scheme sort of difference of the top 8, but obviously there is a little bit of prize money in there and a little bit of bragging rights as well.
No, you're indeed correct about that one. And the teams that we will see tomorrow are going to be trying to find out their seeding, as we've said, get into that top 8 in their respected order and find that money in their best vicinity. But end of the day, they're trying to find those spots in toward the the qualifiers for the North America. Remember, 2 teams are going to be able to qualify for that, but we'll get to that a little bit later on in the competition where we can get more talking into it. For tonight, guys, that is us wrapping up the show. We will both be back for you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time, 3 p.m. New Zealand, and wherever you are around the world as well. If you want to check it on through, there is definitely the sites out there to be able to find when the matches are played. But from us, guys, have a good night. It's an early night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I just time traveled. Ah, today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi. Wow. Which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya. Oh, it's still in the garage. Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.